Let's do it. All right. Alrighty. 3, 2, 1. Hey guys, what's going on? And welcome to episode 256 of the KBMOD podcast. It is November 13th, 2016. And we are coming to you live from the good old USA. Where a few things went down this last week, but we're not going to talk about any of those because this is a place of safety. And we want everybody to feel safe regardless of your views on who is or isn't our president, no matter who you voted for. We did, just for the audio listeners, we did a poll for, we always do a poll on the live version or when we record this podcast. And we put video game characters, like who would you elect as president? And Gordon Freeman, my choice, is the one that I put up, is one with, what was it, 36%?
Yeah, about 35%. The candidates were Banjo from Banjo-Kazooie, of course, Dr. Eggman from Sonic, Gordon Freeman, and then Nico Bellic. So, I'd say four very different candidates. And actually, Nico Bellic
I thought you were going to say four very qualified for a second. I'm glad you changed that.
Well, I mean, again, we don't know enough about these candidates as presidential, presidential candidates. We only know about them in the context of the games they were in. So... Yes, I would be very interested to all these people voting for Gordon Freeman. I feel like you're really taking a gamble because we don't know that much about his personality.
I mean, we've been through some pretty crazy stuff with him, but you're right. Yeah, he never speaks. So
that's true. There's some shared experience there, but I feel like who you don't know his views. Like just because you've been through a lot together, like he might be like this crazy racist or like a raging anti-Semite.
Just a belligerent.
We don't know.
It is risky because we haven't heard him actually talk. Though the thing is, I would say with the Nico Bellic pick, I mean, we've also been through some things with Nico Bellic.
That's true.
That's true. And those are a little bit more dicey than I think anything Gordon ever got involved in.
That's true. 32% voting for Nico Bellic is actually a little concerning.
So, but again, he's maybe the gamble vote for some people. Maybe Gordon Freeman seems to be the. I don't know. I think all good though. All good options.
Actually, Nico Bellic. Actually, some of these may not even be eligible because they're not born in the U.S.
Oh, he's in the U.S. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay,
Nico.
And one's not even human. So I mean.
Yeah, he's actually.
Does it say you have to be human?
I don't know. I don't know the rule
in the Constitution.
Yeah, I actually don't know. I know that like the residency requirements, but I don't know about the human requirement. I guess it's a foregone conclusion. That feels like one of those things that if you have to write that into the law, that like how far have we gone?
I Googled it, and the first hit is, can a cat run for president from PolitiFact? And this is somebody pointing out that the Constitution does not say it has to be human years for how old, because it has limits. So
we're taking steps toward this. Harambe got 11,000 write-in votes. So I feel like.
That's actually, I mean, there's a reason we didn't put Harambe in this vote because I think Harambe would run away with it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true.
Stayed away. But so definitely been an interesting week. I know for me. Did anybody?
Well, we missed last week.
We weren't here last week. That's true.
We were off for a week.
Did anything go down beyond I don't know. I feel like I'm just engulfed because I live in this country, so it's hard to really talk about anything else. But what besides the election and stuff, did anything exciting happen? Any shows? Were any shows gone to? Were there any new video games picked up? Katie Zen, was there any more binocular spying on people having coitus in the park? Anything like that?
I don't want to talk about it.
Okay, fair enough.
Although, all right, all right, I'll tell the story.
Okay, so I'm glad. Whenever you're reluctant to tell a story and then you do, I'm always excited.
Okay. All right. So I've been trying to get out to try dating some more, getting older.
I love where this is
going.
And
so I considered the application known as Tinder.
Sure.
And this led to a date about I think less than a week ago.
Okay.
And didn't turn out as well as I hoped. I've gone on a few dates, but this one mostly successful. This one is it didn't really go that well. So let me think how it started off. So we just had the plan to walk around the canal or something, or get something to eat, something relaxing, And so strike one, She picks me up in this rickety truck. You have to slam the door 20 times to get it to shut. Like, terrible mileage. And she does not look like her pictures. That was the main strike. Listen. So already, and I should have seen it. Listen, I should have seen it. Going through pictures,
can I just call out to the audience that
I might not have,
that the first
you're mad about her.
The first thing before even like having pictures that were somewhat of a false advertisement, you're like upset about her vehicle's like lack of efficiency when it comes to fuel mileage.
Okay, all right, that might have been pulled out of my ass. Listen, like the thing is that there were worse things later, and I'm trying to like build this up.
Oh, I'm excited. But, well, yeah, I'm already excited.
So one, she didn't look like her pictures.
How
I should have
off,
seen
though?
it.
Like, what levels though? Like of off?
Listen,
like kind of off, or like?
Hold on. We need
have
to
you
visit.
seen
How close do you look to yourself?
That's
in
true.
Your pictures.
What, can we get?
Was she upset? Was she upset that you weren't like a large gorilla?
No, I thought I looked fucking on fleek when I came out there, dude.
Okay.
Listen, I mean, just because my Tinder pictures are Tom Selleck, Hutch, doesn't mean no. But I thought I looked great. But anyways, so and I should have seen it, dude. On her pictures on her profile, those Snapchat filters work insane levels of magic. Like someone will look so much better if you see the flowers in their hair or something. You know it's a Snapchat filter doing some witchcraft. So. That was like
you were catfished by Snapchat filters.
No, you haven't seen it. Like
I've seen Snapchat filters. Yeah, I've seen the effects. I know that they add like they can make their eyes big, your eyes big. I mean, I know, I get it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna show like a picture of them or something.
Did she have a picture without any filter on though on her profile?
She did, and I kept searching through. I think they must have all been old pictures because she did not.
Yes, very classic move.
So. Not off to a great start. So we arrive at the canal, almost get in a car accident. So she's a terrible driver.
She's not a good driver. No. She doesn't look like her pictures. No. Her truck is a piece of crap. All right.
It gets worse. It gets worse. I promise you. We're looking for a place to park. She pulls into, this is kind of a minor thing, but she pulls into the hospital visitor parking. And I'm like, this is for hospital visitors. There's the 2 hours. She's like, oh, it's okay. Nobody ever checks. All right. No. Okay. There's more. So. This might.
Wait, the date didn't end there?
It didn't end there. No. She's already a loose cannon. Okay.
This is the greatest story I've ever heard.
On the ride over, we can't help but bring up. She says, "Okay, so do you smoke at all?" I'm like, "Okay, yeah. I mean, I smoke a little ganj here and there." And so when we park. When we park, she starts rolling up in the car. And it's like, do you want to smoke this while we walk down the canal? Like, I'm not trying to go to jail over a Tinder date. You want to smoke this illegal drug walking publicly down the canal? And she's like, oh, okay, I thought you were cool with that. So,
I mean, to be fair, it sounds like you may have misled her slightly.
Yeah, I think she was just feeling out to see if you were Mary Jane.
By saying,
good Christian.
Hold on, what did you say? What was the phrasing? Like, can we get the exact wording?
Yeah, all right. I didn't say the typical ganj, but exact phrasing or occasional ganj. I said yeah, I smoke. I mean, I smoke weed here and there, but I'm not like a smoker or anything. I think that was pretty much roughly exactly what I said to her.
Okay.
And she took that as
that could be taken either way, I suppose. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that was strike 2. Things didn't really.
No, that's like strike 6 from what you're listening.
Yeah, go ahead. But here's the thing: we're walking around, and it comes to like. Eventually, just after talking so much, it hits that there's just no connection going on. I mean, she didn't look like her pictures, but she wasn't bad looking. But there was just nothing. There's no chemistry between us.
We're talking past it. It was just not happening. You knew it was not happening.
But here's the deal breaker. Eventually, we for some reason, now I don't want people to get the wrong idea, but eventually Twitch.tv got brought up, and she's like, oh, I don't really play video games, but I know the website. And I was like, okay, well, I mean, they're doing this thing right now where Bob Ross, it's his birthday, so they're doing like a live stream of all of his like episodes. And she goes, oh, I hate Bob Ross.
Oh, what?
Oh man,
what? How does anybody
fall asleep?
Wow.
So that was the end.
Yeah.
Wait,
you made the right decision.
Hold on. Did you just abruptly end the conversation and walk away, or did she give some
did she have to drive you home?
Did she attempt to?
Doing you don't. Oh, okay. Well, it's not for everybody. Hey, I think I should probably go.
No. See, that's if you know it's over, you have to take a stand.
You're right, and probably going back and be like, should I have defended Bob Ross?
Absolutely.
You should have defended.
He's deceased. He can't defend himself.
Can't defend himself anymore.
That man is a beautiful man who's contributed so much to society. You're just a fucking Tumblr goblin, and you're here talking about Ross.
See, it's so much easier back in the Yeah, it's so wow, Katie. That wasn't very successful. That maybe might be my favorite. That's my favorite story you've ever told. I'm so glad you told it.
And given my record with telling stories, like they haven't really turned out that well. I feel like this was.
This is great. Don't sit on your dating stories because I want to hear every single.
How was her parking job?
Yeah.
I mean, it was okay.
We already know she's parked in the hospital visitor parking, which is, I mean, that's deplorable. But like, how was the parking job? Was it still a good parking job though?
I think it was good enough to where I didn't really get an impression of it. Also, she was rolling up a joint in the car, which kind of took my thought out of anything else that could have been happening. Yeah. But God, that was not.
Wait, so I missed it. So did you guys actually? So you didn't go to dinner? You guys just went to the canal to chill?
No, we just walked around for a bit. Yeah.
Okay. How long? What was the actual total sum of the time that you spent with this girl?
I would say about 90 minutes to a couple.
Oh wow.
Hours. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Because there's definitely a lot to talk about. Like I mean, for the most part.
Can you give me any positives from? Could you give me a single? I mean, I know it's hard, but were there any positives where you were like, because up until the Bob Ross thing, it sounded like even though there were so many negatives and it probably wasn't going to work out in any form anyway, you were still clinging on to a bit of hope.
Any positives?
Was there any commonality? Was there anything that you were like, oh, hey, we connected? It sounds like there was nothing.
She had a Zelda ringtone, which I was like, damn, that's awesome. But then she started telling me that she sold her 64. Like, and she doesn't play video games after that, and I was like, God damn it, woman, why can't you get everything right?
You thought you had the olive branch for a second.
64.
You thought you had found some common ground, and then she had to destroy that too.
I mean, we both agree politically. That's pretty much it.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're both Trump voters, so that's good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we're both Satanists also. We kind of connected there.
Katie's on. All I have to say is that was an exceptional story, and where you are at in your life and you're going to be dating more, please keep us up to date with your
I will. I promise.
Progress. Because you know what? For every terrible Tinder date you're going to go on, there'll be one okay one. I think usually it works like 50-1 or something, so you're probably going to have to go on a lot. But
going on that date was the hardest thing I ever had to do but at the end of the day, I'm glad I went because like I have the experience. But I was literally sitting here. She's like, "Do you want to hang out today?" I'm sitting here. I look at the Discord. I see 20 people playing Battlefield 1. I'm like, okay, I can either join and have a guaranteed good time playing Battlefield 1, or I can go out and have some dating experience, which will in the long term help, like confidence and whatnot.
That's true.
But,
I will say, I think even though it was a poor outcome, you do gain that invaluable experience. So it's a toss up. It's a toss up for sure.
So that's been the highlight of my week.
Wow,
that's good.
I don't even know if anybody wants
to. It's good to have the confidence to to put yourself out there, and even though you didn't have a great time, it is good experience, and you have a better idea of what you're looking for in a potential partner. So.
And you got a great story out of it. So really, who's the real loser? I don't think it's you.
And hospital visitor parking.
That's actually incredible. That's actually incredible.
What a terrible person.
Oh man.
It's like you really can't pay for the minuscule price of.
Like I always wonder. You know what's funny is I always wonder. Because I'm not gonna lie. I'll let my mind wander if there's no parking anywhere, and I'll be like, oh god. But then I'll see it, and I always wonder, like, are there people that actually just do that? And then so you have proven to me that there are people that will be like, well, Even though this is definitely not where I should park, people do it. So
I mean, it's sort of like at the grocery store. They have expectant mother parking. It's
exactly.
Like, yeah, of course they're not going to check. Like, there's no legal requirement there. But if you park there, you're just like, you're a jerk. That's there's a reason they have those spots.
Exactly. Deplorable.
Man.
Wow.
Anyways.
All right. Well, I don't even. Does anybody else have anything near as interesting as what happened to Katie said on his? Or we can just go into what we've been playing.
Well, I actually got stuck in a riot. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Oh,
on Twitter
I did.
Okay.
Sweet. Yes.
Yeah.
How
So
was that?
I was driving home from work, and I already knew something was up because Waze was like. I use Waze for like trying to find the shortest commute to like home, and I already knew something was up because Waze was sending me on a weird route as it was, but I didn't really think anything of it. And just drive in. I get to a stoplight. It just looked pretty empty. And then out of nowhere, like it was just like in an instant, all of a sudden I'm surrounded by like hundreds of people, like in my car. And like what I didn't notice was Waze had actually directed me right next to the meetup for the riots. And
nice. Thank you,
Waze. And yeah. So I was stuck there, and then the Portland Transit stuff was actually pulled up right next to me, and they were stuck as well. So pretty much I was right in the thick of it. But I luckily I saw like just a little bit of an opening, and I was able to just like creep through it all. And after like 30 minutes of like patiently waiting and just like creeping inch by inch,
I got nothing explodes while you're trying to creep through.
Just hoping I don't get Molotoved in the middle of the process or something. But I made it through. It was pretty crazy. That was my exciting experience for the last week. Nothing really else.
I mean, I had my first out-of-body experience watching the election results, but I don't think that's anything that anybody. I think a lot of people did too. Yeah. I was hovering above my body, looking down at myself, but I didn't have anything near as interesting as you two gentlemen. Brandon, anything?
Well, crazy? I mean, last weekend I went to a wedding near New Orleans, and so spent a few days in New Orleans, and I've been there before. It's a fun city, but I don't really have any stories to tell aside from, it was cool going to my friend's wedding and seeing all that. But just New Orleans just has the best food, just hands down. Like there is nowhere else in the world that has food like New Orleans. And so I had 4 or 5 just phenomenal meals. And one of them was at it's not even a meal, but it was just delicious. The Cajun Corn Dog Company.
Whoa.
Okay, I'm in.
I had a corn dog. They had I believe they had like a regular, beef corn dog, but they also had alligator sausage corn dog.
Alligator sausage.
It was excellent, and it's just like on the in a little kind of little building, little kind of shop on Bourbon Street, and I just grabbed that. Was walking down the street, with your drink and your alligator sausage corn dog.
Yep.
And tell me that that's not just the height of human existence.
Yeah, that sounds delicious. I've had I've had gator a few times, but never. I don't think I've ever had gator sausage, but yeah.
I mean, gator is just like it's kind of like chicken. It's not.
It tastes like the consistency and definitely chicken. I think is the.
But just alligator sausage corn dog was just fantastic. So that's all I really have to report on over the past week. Just some delicious food.
Okay. All right. So with that behind us, let's talk about some games and what games we played. KD, besides the game of life and dating and Tinder, what did you?
Yeah. Other than that,
what did you play on your consoles or PC?
Just been doing the usual Rocket League. I don't think I've talked about the DLC. Yeah, I talked about the DLC for 3, but ended up finishing pretty much everything to do in there, and not the biggest expansion, but it was still pretty good. And then also I've been spending a lot more time in RPG Maker, MV actually. Not doing Barn Door Quest. I want to get more experience before tackling such a... Yeah, they're waiting, but I feel like I want to start making small things first, and then like...
I mean, you don't want to rush a project. You don't want to set a release date and then miss it. We know all too well how that goes.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah. Other than that,
what are you making in RPG Maker?
We're waiting.
Assuming it's not
official
secretive.
Reveal trailer.
And, okay.
Mainly, it's just.
I don't want to spoil the big marketing push.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, for sure. I just want to see if I can finish like one small dumb project. So it's literally something with the dumbest plot, like go here and save this person. I just want to get like experience, like this is how long the hypothetical game is going to be, and then a whole like thing about the game is like balancing the enemies and like their difficulty and what items you're getting, leveling up and whatnot. So and when you're doing these things, you're getting more experience with the variables and the coding and different scripts in the game. So like getting that experience there is good. But guys, I swear to you, Barn Door Quest is coming one day. I would not lie to you like this, but I'm
excited
it's not ready.
that you're going with some smaller, more introductory projects before tackling something, as
so
comprehensive
huge
as Barn Door Quest.
Yes.
Yeah, that'll definitely make it to Steam. Put it on green light.
I can't wait.
Hopefully introduce a lot more people to the wonderful KBMOD community.
Well, hey, like I've always said, I'm willing to wait for quality, so don't rush anything out.
Exactly.
I still sometimes I just remember that I had you say "Sup, babe," drinks beer, and then that just kills me. Like that's my finest work.
I was gonna say the initial iteration of Barn Door Quest is a work of art.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I was I did come to a recent revolution in it where I'm not gonna have it just take place at like a house or like your house somewhere. It's gonna be at TwitchCon one year, and then it'll be like a story revolving that. Like people will be sabotaging events, and
there's
that. Yeah, the currency of the game will be bits. So there'll be the streamer's alley, and that'll be the place. And you can each streamer has like their own different skills they'll give you. So how many bits you donate to a certain streamer, it's kind of like shops. Wow. You've got like the Tyler 1 clone. You've got the girl that cries no matter how many bits you give her. She just thanks you so much. So yeah, some pretty good ideas.
You're clearly doing your research.
I just have to say though, this is becoming No Man's Sky level marketing where you just talk and tease features that are super hype, and then when it comes out, Katie, you have a lot to live up to.
I was gonna say, you were setting high expectations here.
Don't Sean Murray us.
Don't do it. Compilation where it's me saying all these things are going to be in the game and they're not in the game.
They're not. Exactly.
Will there be multiplayer? Oh yeah. Co-op Barn Door Quest.
Now you just need to change your personal Twitter handle to @BarnDoorQuest and get things started.
Yeah, and then 1 month after release, I'll tweet Barn Door Quest was a mistake, and then I'll have my other Twitter tweet, "You good, bro? You still hacked?" All right. But yeah, not much other than that. God, I feel like there's something. I remember. I've been going down a Mario Kart pit. I've been trying to play all the different Mario Karts just to get up to speed. Yeah, because I started playing like Mario Kart 7, I think, on the 3DS, and that was pretty fun. And then I tried. I went back to the classic Double Dash on the GameCube, and like I can see how that's like the revered Mario Kart because the skill ceiling for that is pretty high, but something about the control in that game takes a lot of getting used to. It feels like which direction you turn, there's like a split, like a little delay before you start turning in that direction. But I mean, I could be wrong. It could just control differently. But yeah,
what's the impetus for playing through all the Mario Karts?
Just the like knowledge and like because I want to be I have a lot of friends that play it, and just like that's just curiosity. Like I want to see how Mario Kart has evolved over the years. So I've just started going through. One of the employee benefits where I work is that any item in the inventory that's under like a certain price point, you can just borrow for a few days at a time. Okay. So Just been borrowing all the Mario Karts, checking them out. I'm coming to the conclusion that maybe the game might not be for me because I get so goddamn frustrated with some of the shit that goes on at that. Double Dash, I haven't seen so many power-ups in a kart racer in my entire goddamn life. But
Katie, I think this is a thread that runs through a lot of games with you, and I'm starting to think that it's not the games and maybe it's the person playing the games. I don't know.
Maybe.
Just a thought. But no, fucking Mario Kart in any fucking game like that, no, they're made to just, they're friend ruiners or friendship ruiners, as we know and stuff.
Oh,
or even
definitely.
just. So I think you're fine. I think.
Okay. I'll need some more practice, but back to you guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, that's all. Also, I watched a couple movies. I don't know if any of you guys have seen these. Have any of you seen Sausage Party?
Yes, I saw that in theaters. Mm-hmm.
How fucking awkward was that in theaters for that final scene?
The way that I describe Sausage Party is the most uncomfortable movie I've ever seen. Especially, and in theaters, yes, the ending.
Oh my god!
The whole time your brain is trying to because it's like you're thinking like Pixar or whatever, but it's so filthy, and unnerving, with everything that's going on.
Really.
I enjoyed it overall, but I watched it once and I was like, I will never watch that again.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That was just that's not.
What did you think? What did you think?
I feel the same way. I thought there were some funny moments, but overall, I watched it with a few other people. It's definitely not a date film. Don't watch it with a date because oh my god, so. You see the commercials and you think, oh, that's going to be a fucked up movie because of all the killing and everything. It's worse.
Yeah, you have.
It's so much worse.
You have no idea until you actually watch it. No,
and that's a long scene too.
Yep.
God, but I still think I think for the most part it was enjoyable. It had an amazing cast on that movie. But other than that, one more. This one I expected this to be terrible, but I ended up enjoying it more than Sausage Party. Have you guys seen Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates?
No, but I remember seeing the trailers for it.
Yeah, that one actually turned out to be pretty funny. It's got a Step Brothers or that kind of movie kind of vibe to it. But yeah, I enjoyed that more than Sausage Party actually. Yeah, that's all for me.
All right, Brad, what about you? What you been doing gaming wise?
Not much actually. If I've been able to play, it's been Battlefield. That's about it. Nothing really.
What are your thoughts about it? Give me your updated thoughts after. How many hours do you have in Battlefield 1 at this point, do you think?
It's fallen off the last 2 weeks, but I don't know what it is right now. I'm still. I think in the last cast, or it was the cast before, I said that the support class had the worst guns. Actually, I meant to say medic, but I actually love the support class. Support class is my favorite by a long shot.
You are so opposite of you're the only person I think that's ever said that to me. I cannot jive with. We're so different when it comes to that game because I think the support class is the worst class to play.
What?
I don't necessarily think the guns are bad. I just don't enjoy playing it. Yeah, I just. Whereas in the medic class, everyone I know plays medic because they think all the guns are pretty good except the last one. So interesting. We're just on totally. That's why we need to play together more so that we can share our very different views on the game.
So you said you don't enjoy the medic class, but you wouldn't say it's necessarily the worst class.
No, it's definitely needed. You definitely want people that roll support for sure.
Okay.
You can do pretty well with a lot of the guns, I think, too. But why do you think? So, what is your least favorite class, Brad? You'd say medic is your least favorite still?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. I just think for the style I play, damage per second on the medic class is just it's too slow for my gameplay. I don't like to sit back or anything, and I feel like you kind of need to with the medic class.
Do you play assault at all? Because I feel like assault, all the guns are good. The shotguns are.
Well, the problem is, I'm in between, but I feel like the assault is really good for close range stuff. Yeah. And for game modes like Conquest or Rush or something like that. Yeah. But I play a lot of domination or just I try to play on the bigger maps, and I feel like that's where the support class it's that in between medic and assault, I feel like, and that's why I like it so much.
Okay, cool. Just some battle.
I have 41 hours in.
Okay,
that's respectable.
Yeah, it's not. It's no Rust numbers, but
no,
at least. And you're still not
be
playing.
sitting.
So are you playing?
They actually just, they remember when they got rid of the blueprint system and went to XP. Mm-hmm. Yeah. They got rid of the XP system, and now they have a component system. So you have to find the components to build the things you want to do. And I haven't even touched it because it's still, I don't know, it's such a grind fest. I've been enjoying my time in Battlefield. I don't know. I just I have a hard time getting back into Rust. I've been interested in getting back into Overwatch though because of the new character they have coming out. I don't know if you guys have seen that. Sombra.
Yeah.
She's in the public test beta or whatever the client, and she looks OP like crazy. I don't know if you guys seen anything on her.
I haven't watched.
I've seen clips, but I'm not really
I've
sure.
just seen the announcements.
So her whole ult is basically being able to hack something. So, and it basically keeps other champions from using either some of their attacks or defensive maneuvers or their ults even. So it's like Reinhardt, for instance, you can make him unable to use his shield. So, I mean, completely changing the game, theoretically. Yeah, so I'm kind of just waiting for that to come to the standard client and get out of public test.
That's fucking crazy. That's gonna make pushes really tough. Just taking out Reinhardt's shield. Do you know how long it goes out for?
I don't know actually. No. But I'm just kind of waiting for that because I feel like that's gonna change the meta completely.
Oh yeah, definitely.
The only thing I think of when I see the whole Sombra with Overwatch is I think of hummus and Sombra. Has nobody made that? Has nobody made that a joke yet? I feel like it's so easy. I haven't seen a single hummus meme with the Sombra brand hummus. Anyway, I know it's spelled differently, but somebody get on that, please. Okay.
Just leave it to us to make it food related.
Exactly, of course. I mean, maybe I'm the only one. Of course, I'm thinking about food related meme, but fair enough. All right. What about you? What about you, Brandon?
All I've really played, I've been playing WoW, and while I was in New Orleans, I played Pokemon Go because I was kind of walking around, Bourbon Street and stuff, and just didn't have anything else to do aside from drink and eat. So I was playing Pokemon there, and
Have you been affected by the speed update where you can't check into Pokestops after 15 miles per hour or something like that?
No. I mean, well, really? No. That stuff has basically been not great for a while, but they've slowly started changing the diversity of the Pokemon that you see around. So they took the most common Pokemon and made them, not the overwhelming thing you always see. And so now when you're walking around, you see some stuff that's they used to be less common. And that's made it a little more fun because obviously it's not that much fun to just walk around and catch Pidgeys and Parises and other stuff that no one cares about. So I mean, it's still not great. I'm still just sort of playing. I'm playing it when I'm bored and I'm walking somewhere and I don't really have any other thing to do. But they have not made that many. They've not made many improvements that make me want to really play the game. So that's about it, though.
Okay. And I'll go. As of right now, I am 100 and hold on, I'll have to check. 114 hours in the Battlefield 1 since it came out.
Wow.
And
so you must be streaming it too. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm streaming a ton, and I love it. I love Battlefield 1. I can't. People told me that I would burn out at this game after 2 weeks, but I still. Again, this game is a game that really shines with a party. And there's definitely things that need to be worked on. There's frustrations with the game and stuff. I'm really anticipating their big patch in later this month. I'm not sure. I think tentatively, on the subreddit it said the 15th. It looked like that was going to be coming out. So I think
I was about to say that they're going to be introducing a new map and stuff like that.
Exactly. Yeah, the free DLC map or whatever.
Oh, cool.
But a ton of bug fixes. I mean, I don't know if they fully listed them, but I think they're working on a lot of a lot of stuff. So and yeah, I don't know. Like I just haven't had a shooter grab me like that. I can't think of any other shooter that's grabbed me like this, except Counter-Strike in the history of my gaming career. So that's a pretty big.
Wow.
It's a pretty big deal. I did actually.
Better.
Sorry. You want me to compare Counter-Strike and
better than Bad Company 2?
Oh yes, for me I think so. Even though I really liked Bad Company 2 a lot, I think this game. I don't know, like.
Well, the problem with Bad Company 2 is it's just aged. Like, it hasn't aged well. I mean, it's a good game on its own, but it just like...
Yeah, it's still a good game.
It's hard to compare when it's...
There are a lot of mechanical differences.
Yeah, it's a completely different landscape that... Like, if they made Bad Company 2 today, I think Bad Company 2 could probably be a better game. But Bad Company 2 was made 6 years ago.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly.
Okay.
But yeah, I think like it's hard to really explain, but they really, for me, as somebody that is, as I've said this a million times since it came out, but like I'm not somebody that is like, I don't think I was their target audience, because for me it was like Battlefield was always too slow to get into the action and all this kind of stuff. And they really, I think with this one, they've struck the balance of really, really satisfying gunplay on an incredible engine that we just, I mean, I can't say enough about this version of Frostbite and how it's just unparalleled to me in any game I've ever played, about how well it runs, how insane that after 117 or whatever hours I said that I've played this game, I still see shit that I've never seen before happen in the engine because of, you know, just like whether it's the physics engine or, you know, like it's just, it really does feel like playing a fucking movie a lot of times. And the sound and everything about it. And I obviously operations, I pretty much spent 117 hours, a little bit of the pigeon mode, but mostly all just playing operations. And for me, that's what I'm really excited about. And I know that this map will not include, so when they release on the 15th, it's just the new map that isn't an operation, but I'm really excited to play and see what kind of other campaigns. I know they have they're gonna have a Russian campaign, I think, or operation map. Or series of maps and some other stuff. So yeah, I don't know. I'm having a blast. I did finally load up Titanfall 2 because everyone was talking about how good it was, and I had a key, so I played like one. So this is my problem again. This is my I can't jump from shooter to shooter, especially if I'm like just binging on one. So I'm playing Battlefield 1, and then you go into Titanfall 2, and those two games could not be more opposite as far as like UI, speed. You know what I mean? It's just a totally different game. And I enjoyed it for what it was, but it was just so overwhelming. Like I jump into Titanfall 2 and I was just like, let me just try to play this game mode. And there's so much shit on the screen just that you have to, I'm like trying to read. I'm like, okay, wait, I have to deposit my money at the end of this. Like I don't know. I just have enough capacity to play like one shooter seriously at a time. But as far as like how well it ran, and then I actually got into some of the fights with the other Titans, it felt really good. Like so many people were telling me how good it was. And just from my only, like, I think I played like a match and a half, I was like really impressed. So I definitely want to kind of dive into Titanfall 2. I hope the community stays. Like there's some people playing for a while on PC. Who knows? I don't know. I might miss the boat on that. I don't know how well the game's selling on PC. But
I think it's just more bad timing than anything. Because I think a lot of the same audience that would be playing Titanfall is actually playing Battlefield right now. And like,
or I mean, Call of Duty just released too, so it's like just it's mashed in between some other, you know, high budget shooters, and so
but for people like me, I don't hardly spend like a full price for a game anymore. So I made the commitment of buying Battlefield 1, and even if I don't know, it would really have to sell me to like try Titanfall 2, and
totally. Especially I wasn't going to buy Titan, regardless of the reviews and how good people are saying it was. I wasn't going to spend like, I had a key, but I wasn't going to buy it. You know what I mean? But yeah, so for what I played, I mean, it's cool. I'm really glad that it's but I also just don't know if I enjoy those. Like, I just don't. I mean, we're going to talk about Infinite Warfare here. This could be a good segue. Actually, no. Yes, this is a perfect segue, isn't it? We're going to be talking about Infinite Warfare here, but like watching that game, I don't know if somebody's made this yet, but somebody needs to go back and even go back to COD 4 and put and put like gameplay of COD 4 and then gameplay of Infinite Warfare and just be like, this is the same franchise, because it's so it's like, especially with Infinite Warfare, when people are running around the moon and all of the player models are like look like fucking robot. I went into somebody's stream and I literally was like, I thought it was Titanfall 2. I was like, what is this? This is insane. Like everything's but then I was like, oh, every gun's a laser beam and people are dying in one like 2 shots from every gun. I was like, this has to be COD. But so I don't know. I think maybe I just don't enjoy. I don't know. I think maybe I just don't enjoy those types of games anymore. And because I do come from the Counter-Strike background where it is kind of no frills, and there, you don't have all that kind of stuff in the game. And I think Battlefield, where it's a little bit more complicated than like a Counter-Strike because there's vehicles and stuff like that, it's still a pretty stripped down shooter. And I think there's a real thirst for that because I think people are just fed up. And as I segue into this, we're going to be into the news. And, this story kind of echoes what I'm saying, as far as we're going to talk about sales first, and then we'll talk about the Windows Store thing. But so sales are 50% less than what Black Ops 3 sold at the same time last year. And so what are your guys' thoughts on that? I mean, there's a couple different reasons for this, and they talk about it in this article. But for me, I think there was a huge backlash, if we remember, when the trailer came out, right, for Infinite Warfare. I think it was like the most disliked trailer of all time. Oh, yeah. I think it ended up being for COD, probably. And
it just seemed recycled for me. Like it was just like, here's the flashy, star-studded commercial with nothing in relation to the actual game, just blasted at you in a 30-second ad. Like it's like, oh, that was cool for the first Black Ops, but like it's not working for me as like an informed like gamer, I guess. But I'm not surprised.
Yeah,
I mean, I no doubt they still did good, but I'm sure I'm really not surprised that you can only do so much with this format.
So do you think? Sorry, go ahead, Brennan.
No, I was going to say there are a few factors at play, but one of them, obviously, Infinite Warfare doesn't really have the brand recognition that Black Ops does. Like Black Ops benefits from the fact that those games, I think, have largely been received better than some of the other Call of Duties in the history of that franchise. And so I don't think it's pretty clear to me that Activision knew they would sell less this year because they bundled Modern Warfare Remastered in with it, which like is literally the only reason you would do that is if you don't expect the game to sell well enough without something extra.
Right.
So I think that's like that's a bit of a broadcast from the start that they were expecting those sales numbers to be lower. But also I think at this point, I don't think we can ignore the fact that Battlefield, like before there was this like Battlefield versus Call of Duty thing where anyone who had played both games was like, this is just a marketing thing. Like the games are actually very different. If you're into Call of Duty gameplay, you're not necessarily going to be into Battlefield gameplay, and vice versa. And I actually think that's not quite the case anymore. Like I think Battlefield has done a reasonable job, like sort of punching upward to Call of Duty, because Battlefield is was historically like the smaller game. I don't know about anymore. I'm assuming Call of Duty is still probably larger across all its titles, but Battlefield 1 I think did a pretty good job at capitalizing on the poor trailer reception. They released a little bit earlier than Call of Duty, and I think that almost certainly helped them, right? Because like Battlefield 1 came out, and I think a lot of people were positive on it, and so there are almost certainly a lot of people that bought Battlefield 1 instead of buying Call of Duty, because Battlefield 1 had that advantage of coming out a few weeks before. And I just think in general, like we're seeing the same cycle happen, that Call of Duty sort of comes out, and it's like there's some good things about it, there's some bad things about it, but I think the Call of Duty fatigue is a real thing. That
it's the most real it's ever been, I guess, maybe is the way to say it.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially when you look at these sales numbers.
I think that's been building over time. But like I think that is really coming into the forefront, especially like on the next gen consoles, because one of the reasons cited in this article that the sales numbers maybe are down somewhat is because Infinite Warfare did not launch with a PlayStation 3 or Xbox 360 edition, and so there is still sort of that silent massive base of people that own old consoles, but even then that explains like 5% of it or something. So I think it's like I think there are a lot of factors at play, but I think that we can't ignore Battlefield making a big push this year, and like Call of Duty sort of having a not so great year in terms of like the title they put out, and like they're gonna have to figure out some way to keep things fresh. That I think Battlefield did a good job of. Activision maybe didn't do such a good job of.
We should also disclaim, though, that this is a Eurogamer article, and I believe these are referencing like sales in the UK, which who knows what like. I just don't know what the market's like over there. I just know what we're kind of going through.
But I think we can reasonably assume that if they're down, almost 50% in the UK, it's not like they're going to be up anything in the US. Like that means they're going to be down probably across the globe.
Oh no, I was just saying like
it just may be less dramatic.
Exactly.
But it could also be more dramatic. So. I mean, we don't really know. I don't think the UK audience necessarily differs in fundamental ways compared to the US audience. They still, they still watch streams and, consume games from a lot of the same personalities and things like that. So
all right, so my next question is sorry, go ahead.
Real fast, just while we're talking about, Infinite Warfare and like the game itself, I watched a lot of it from Incredible Orb. He was doing, the race to Prestige.
Yes. Shout out to Orb for that marathon. I don't know how. God bless him.
How is he able to do that?
It's insane. It's actually insane to stream that
crazy
long.
But just going off of what I've seen, I still want to play it before I draw a conclusion. But it looks like, Infinity Ward, it feels like they continue to innovate the least of the three developers on the cycle. And they've taken the mold of Black Ops 3, which already was pretty out there and strayed really far from Call of Duty. But like they've changed a lot of little things like like specialists and like putting health bars on top of like people. And some of the kill streaks, just really pushing things in like a really out there way that is just even further in a bad direction for the series. But I still want to play it first before I draw, my conclusion. That's just first impression.
Yeah, do we think that Activision and the next who gets the next game? Is it Treyarch?
Sledgehammer.
Sledgehammer. Do we think that the next COD's going to go? We're not going to. In the future,
Good God
we're going to
Almighty,
go World War II, World War I. Who knows? Whatever.
I don't think so. God. I don't think so because these are now in development in a 3-year cycle now.
That's a good point.
So I think maybe not this next year, but probably the year after, I would assume. But I don't know.
God, I can't stress how much I don't want an Advanced Warfare 2. Like, I am so drained of this like science fiction thing. Because like with Infinite Warfare, you knew that like, well, I think since Black Ops 3, they've been locked into this sci-fi for Call of Duty for such a long time now, and I can't wait to get out of it because I hate it.
I think what happens when like Call of Duty has if they continue to have sort of more misses than hits, what happens with the Call of Duty sort of sub brands? Because I feel like Black Ops is the only one that means something still, whereas like Advanced Warfare, now Infinite Warfare, like are these games where you actually expect them to make a sequel, like Advanced Warfare 2, Infinite Warfare 2, when those are sort of the ones that aren't doing well?
Well, they've come out and said, like, before, the game's released, that they want to build Infinite Warfare into its own sub-series, like, to the same level of Modern Warfare and Black Ops, but I really don't see it taking off.
I know they want to do that, but, like, when you see these sales numbers, that seems like not the right direction.
I don't think that's probably not going to happen. I most likely think they're going to keep chipping away at different ideas to see what works and what clicks with people. And then if something sells pretty well, they'll just build that into another series. But Ghosts, that ended on a cliffhanger and that bombed. And we're never going to get a sequel to that, most likely.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Ghosts, Ghosts, Advanced Warfare, Infinite Warfare, like we continue to see these sort of starts of a sub-franchise that doesn't ever seem to get a sequel. And I'm wondering if that's just because like they're continuing to try things but their sales they're not seeing those sales skyrocket for one game, except for Black Ops.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly right.
I don't know. Interesting. I think they'll need to do something to reinvent themselves a little bit more drastically.
I don't know about the next game, but because you're right, because of the 3-year development cycle, where I could see maybe not this Call of Duty, but the next one or the one after. and them going back, because I think, I mean, that's 3 games over the next 3 years. So and especially with Battlefield's success. Again, this goes back to like, because Call of Duty has been so pushed in this direction of like all the perks and the kill streaks and all, like, it's just insane at this point. Can you strip the game down again enough, right, that people don't go, well, they just took features out now? You know what I mean? I really feel like Call of Duty has pushed itself into a space where there's so much that if they pull back, people that like that there's that much insanity. Yeah, because I think there is starting to be a split base, because I think there's enough fatigue. Yes, it's a mix of things. Battlefield 1 turned out to be a really good game. But I think people started playing it and they were like, especially like me, and I was like, man, this is really good. The gunplay's good, but it's still like, it's simple and it doesn't feel like I'm dying from 50 different things or whatever else, which sometimes you deal with COD or that instant spawn. I mean, I guess I shouldn't talk about dying instantly to the Dreadnought or whatever in Battlefield, but anyway, it's a different kind of thing. And so can they reel that back in and try to get back? And obviously with having Modern Warfare, like the remaster, that's a much more simpler Call of Duty.
I feel like that was sort of DOA, because it was. I think this just proves that not only was that not enough to really juice the sales numbers, in a real significant way, but they've split their player base of the game they just put out and this game that was a remaster that's attached to the game they put out. So like, you are not only splitting your player base between, like, let's just look at the branching tree of the way that player base splits. You're splitting your player base based first on platform, right? So like your console and PC, and apparently PC platform, as we will talk about in a second. But you're splitting your player base into the different platforms and then the different game modes between each game. So like, the more game modes that you put out in the game, the more that's going to be split out. And then you're talking about splitting it between 2 games, Modern Warfare Remastered and Infinite Warfare. Think about just the sheer number of ways you are splitting the people buying your game. And I get that millions and millions of people buy Call of Duty, but even across millions and millions of people, when you have the player base split that many ways, you are undoubtedly going to have just these queues that no one's playing in. And I feel like I actually think that it's possible, looking at it in hindsight, that Activision has done more damage to Infinite Warfare with Modern Warfare Remastered, because some people, like, they have basically gotten some people that are probably only going to play Modern Warfare Remastered, and that is going to make all of the queues for Infinite Warfare smaller. Like, the number of people playing Infinite Warfare, the player counts there are going to be smaller. The player counts on Modern Warfare Remastered are probably going to be, if I had to guess, like non-existent. I don't actually know. But like, neither game is going to be nearly as vibrant as something like putting out Black Ops, where like everyone, the only splits you have on Black Ops are platform and like the type of game you want to play. You don't have that other significant like break in your player base. And I think that's what they have to be careful of over time. Is like, if I buy Call of Duty on sale 4 months after it comes out, and I join, and I can't get a game for 3 out of 5 game modes, that's a really bad experience.
Yeah, but I feel like that's just natural with like the amount of like content they're doing, and with the amount of like they make so many new maps for the season passes, but nobody, like such a small percentage of people are playing those, because by the time they come out, no one's playing it anymore. And some of those DLC packs come out like 2-3 months before the next pack comes out. So it feels like with like all the season pass content, it's not really being made to like the most potential. So, but Call of Duty's never gonna leave from that one game every year cycle. So
I don't know.
Just naturally,
I think we say they won't, but that's what I mean by like, at what point,
so?
if we see the same kind of article again a year from now, or God forbid a year from now and 2 years from now, like they will have to be ahead of thinking about like drastically changing the way that Call of Duty operates. And we've talked about this a bit before, but like, I'm talking about, at what point do you just think about maybe having a game that is Call of Duty, and like that is the game, and maybe it's free to play, or maybe it's like $60, but it like evolves over time, and you have DLC, but you're adding on to like effectively the same game. Because you look at like the esports scene for Call of Duty is like in complete flux every single year with the new game that comes out. And, you know, if that is a priority for them, like how do you develop a stable scene as esports becomes more important to the overall landscape? And Call of Duty gets left behind sort of the way that it's kind of left behind now. Like it's not, I mean, Call of Duty esports is a thing, but for the player bases they have, you would expect it to be much larger than it is.
I think it's tough because if you make a Call of Duty and you come out and say this is going to be the Call of Duty that we commit a lot of resources and development to, you need to strike gold, because if like for whatever reason, maybe balance or just like some flaws with the game come out, like they need to hit it right if it's going to be like what they put all their time into, because nobody's going to play it, even if that's like what they like. If it comes out, if they come out and say, if Ghosts came out and it's like, this is our Call of Duty that we're going to be working on, like, it's not going to be as successful as if something came out that was on the same level as Call of Duty 4. Like, people will definitely be staying on that, but Ghosts had problems with, time to kill and everything, so...
Well, right, but that's what I mean, is, like, you look at when CSGO came out, a lot of people didn't like CSGO, and it had to compete against the old version of itself, but they adapted the game and, like, changed it over time to make it more appealing than that old game, and eventually they got all the pros to move over to that. Right, they would have to take a stand that like, we are committed to building on top of this game, and if you buy this game, that like the future, a lot of the future updates and stuff are going to be free, but we're going to monetize the players that buy Call of Duty every year in a different way than we do now. It's not going to be them buying a new standalone game every year. It's going to be them buying skins or buying, I don't know, campaigns or whatever it is, right? But it's like all tied into the same package, where Call of Duty has this like unified identity rather than this, crazy, new different game every year that is like a complete crapshoot in terms of the quality, in terms of the style.
Yeah, it's a totally archaic approach for them to be doing, but it makes sense, right? Because even if we can say, hey, their sales are down 50% in Europe or wherever else, they make a shit ton of money out of cranking out, a game every year.
Right.
But like you're saying, it's true. It's about the future. And like, again, maybe it's not this game, maybe it's not the next 2 games or even the 3 games, but in the next, like, I would say 5 years, I totally agree with you. I think people are going to, because our buying habits are changing and the models are already set. Like, you can do stuff with in-game cosmetics and DLC and all that stuff. And
Call of Duty,
if you're going to continue to splinter your player base.
That's the thing. Like, if I get why they don't do it yet, because they're still selling crazy numbers.
They're still selling
absolutely
crazy amounts.
Bonkers numbers. I don't understand why that many people buy Call of Duty every year, but people do it. But if that trend continues, they're going to have to look at the writing on the wall and get ahead of the fact that like they can make big changes now while they still have this. They have massive brand affinity. A lot of people like Call of Duty. People want to play Call of Duty, and I think like they would be able to do some cool, innovative stuff on all the platforms, right? Like if there's any game that is going to be able to do like cool, innovative stuff on like PS4 and Xbox and, really like some crazy stuff, it would be Call of Duty, right? They're the ones that can sort of tell the platforms like, hey, we're going to do this. You can either get on board or don't. But like if you don't, your competitor's almost certainly going to, right? So like they can force the hand of pretty much all the platforms, and they could make some really cool stuff around like a centralized Call of Duty game. It's just that I feel like that has to be coming, right? We may still be 2-3 years from that, but I feel like that has to be something they're considering seriously or already building.
I think we're seeing that. Yeah, I think that's the only way forward, honestly. I think what we're going to see is just a skeleton of Call of Duty, and then you're just going to buy like a new campaign or something. I think that's what we're going to see from.
Yeah. And that's what I would like, honestly. Like
I would honestly almost consider paying like a small. I don't know. I would even consider monthly.
I feel like the biggest risk to what they do is people not playing the game as much. Like people, fewer people buying it because they do have that fatigue when you've got to pay $60 just to like hop in a game and even give it a try. If there was like some unified Call of Duty game, it could cost $60 entrance, right? I don't even care, right? CSGO costs what, $10-$20? But I would pay $60 one time just to have it in my library and occasionally hop in a game. the way that I do for a lot of games that are sort of the perennial title that never really changes, right? Like Killing Floor 2, for instance. Killing Floor 2 is a game that I bought a long time ago. It's actually, we'll talk about it later, but it's just now coming out of like early access, like releasing officially. I just own that game because I occasionally like hopping into a game of Killing Floor 2. I would do the same thing with Call of Duty, but I'm not going to pay $60 every year to maybe play, an hour or two every now and then. Like, I'm just not going to pay that. It's not worth it.
Right. Okay. Well, I know we're definitely triggered here. We're all triggered. Listen to us talking about Call of Duty. And just real quick, we have to mention this, is that if you bought Call of Duty Infinite Warfare on the Windows Store, you may not have known that it wouldn't work with Steam multiplayer. You were only going to be able, and you only are able to play it with other people that bought it on the Windows 10 Store platform, which is insane. And I don't know if that's
of, like the dead platforms thing.
Yes, and again, I don't know if this is like, it's hard for me to know if this is a Windows thing or if this is a Activision thing, or you know what I mean?
Or we don't really know where to place the blame.
I don't know where to place it, but again, this regardless, this gets back to, for me, because I love shitting on Microsoft and when they try to act like they give a shit about gamers and then do the stuff that's so tone deaf. This might not be their bad, but again, at this point, they don't get the benefit of the doubt from me. So this is it's crazy. I actually saw multiple people in my chat had done this and then actually got it refunded because they didn't realize that.
Oh, really?
So yeah, and then they bought it on Steam. A couple people in my chat talked about that.
That is so crazy. I don't know if it's Activision or Microsoft's doing, but I have to guess that Microsoft must have been involved somehow. But for Activision, like, why would you even put it on the Windows Store if you're going to have this kind of segmentation?
Right. Exactly. Like your PC
to
me, if I'm Microsoft, I'm like, well, then we're not gonna. It was probably not that easy. They probably had a deal, but it's like you're telling me that we can only. Hey, here, look at the numbers of active people playing, games on the. It's just not even close. Like,
I mean, especially when Call of Duty sort of has this reputation for dying quicker on PC than the consoles. I mean, you're gonna split the PC two different ways. I mean, I just can't imagine like who. You are almost. I feel like you're almost tricking customers by like having this kind of division and not making it. I mean, I haven't looked at the store page. Maybe it is on the store page, but if it's not in big bold letters, like that should almost be like a confirmation. Like, hey, this isn't going to work with 90%, 95% of the people buying the game, right?
Yeah, exactly.
What would sell me on this stuff is if I could shit on Xbox kids on the PC.
Right, if I could
cross-platform.
That's true. You could get at all the Xbox One kids on, then maybe.
That would at least make a little more sense, right? If it's like unified within the Microsoft architecture,
sure,
I could get more on board with that. But just having this version of the game on the Windows Store be on its own island away from everything else. I mean, if you happen to own the game through the Microsoft Store, like I would just, I guess they don't show actual player numbers, but like I would just love to see you sitting in a queue and tell me like how long it takes for each queue, right? Like, can you even get a game on most of those queues, even when this game's still brand new?
I just want to say that Infinite Warfare on the Microsoft Store only has 2 reviews.
Holy
total?
Shit.
That's
total.
Wow. That's crazy. That's awesome.
Shows you the kind of traffic they're getting on that platform for the game. It's crazy. Yeah, there's a whole nother rant to be. I mean, we talk about this, but all of the different fucking, Origin, Steam, Uplay, now Windows Store. Like, there's a whole cat. We've already gone long enough on Call of Duty, but I'll save it for another time. But the era we live in with games, it's like great, and there's a lot of good things about it, but there's also so many things that are so cancerous. The way and opportunities for abuse or just total mismanagement, and I think we're kind of seeing that kind of shit on this. But all right, let's talk about Overwatch real quick, because Overwatch and Blizzard have announced a esport league. That sounds pretty ambitious.
So we missed the week of BlizzCon, so we didn't have a podcast last weekend, which is when BlizzCon was last weekend. And so I would say largely the BlizzCon announcements there wasn't anything super crazy. I think a lot of it is stuff people expected. To go real quick and like some one line hits, like Overwatch introduced Sombra. That was their big thing. Hearthstone announced another expansion, the Mean Streets of Gadgetzan.
With the Necromancer, with Diablo 3.
Diablo 3. I feel like the Necromancer, and then the Diablo, I think Diablo 2, I forget the exact news.
Oh, the remake or something.
The remake that's like going to be in Diablo, I think. Or, I forget, but Diablo news, like, I felt a little bit underwhelming. I don't really care that much about the Necromancer. They talked about WoW a little bit, talked about Heroes a little bit. All in all, not a super blockbuster year, but you know they've had so much going on. I feel like that it's hard to be upset with like the number of games they have going. You can't expect them to have crazy announcements every single year. Yeah. But I think what caught a lot of people's attention, maybe one of the most ambitious announcements, was this Overwatch League. And so it's going to be, I'm not sure if you guys have read up on the details, but it's basically like trying to create a structure that is kind of localized and tries to create a structure for people, you know, that has like guaranteed salaries and stuff for pro players. A lot of very ambitious stuff.
Well, I think,
and more traditional sport stuff than I think we've seen in some other, like again with the regionality of it, because that's one thing that you don't as much when it comes to like a lot of times you'll support a team because you like the players on the team, but not necessarily where they're from. I mean, sometimes it depends on the esport, but I think this is something that looks more like a traditional kind of sporting outfit than we've seen in the past.
Yeah, so teams are going to be regionally based, and
they're going to have a combine, for this, which is kind of cool. I mean, I like the idea of it.
It sounds cool. I just wonder if is this actually going to be interesting to people to the level of the funding that it will require? I mean, the way that the structure that they're proposing, just kind of from where I sit, sounds just remarkably expensive.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, if anybody has the money to do this, of course, it's Blizzard. But
for sure. But I mean,
you're right. But like,
you can't just throw the money into something with no hope of return. Like, clearly, they think that there's going to be a return here.
Sure.
And and Overwatch has been a runaway hit. There's no question about that.
Yep.
But I think the ambition here of like the regionally based teams and stuff. Means that they're basically going to expect Overwatch to be interesting to like a bunch of different specific regions. But right now, I don't know if that's really the case. Like, are there a lot of Overwatch players in the Midwest? Like they have. Right. Like, I feel like this is sort of one thing that traditional sports teams. It's one area where there's a challenge. Is like you. Clearly in like LA and San Francisco and Dallas and Boston, like the sports teams there are going to have no problem. But what about in the smaller markets where you want to have teams representing those markets, but you're not going to be able to pull in money the way that you can in other markets? Like, I feel like that's what this is going to turn into, is just like big cities will probably have interest, but what about the people in other regions? Like, you're basically I feel like it's possible that you might isolate them, right? Because they probably won't have a regional representative.
Right. I mean, I think it's definitely ambitious, and I'm sure they know that they're taking a risk. I would say though, if any game's going to do this, and if there's any game that, I mean, you think about the player base, right? With Overwatch, it has an insane amount of players playing the game, so there is a kind of obviously a built-in fan base. But again, it remains to be seen. For me, and I'm not maybe representative of the average, because I don't really play Overwatch. I've played it a bit. I'm familiar with it. I know the heroes or champions or whatever. Like, but spectating it, I still think I think it's gotten better, but I don't know if it's the best. I don't know if it's the best spectator sport, and
it's
I don't know.
It's a pretty complex spectator
It's pretty
experience.
complex, yeah. Just like my same problem with like trying to push Dota and ESPN or League of Legends or whatever else. It's not initially, and maybe they're not worried about that. Do you know what I mean? Maybe they're just worried about like, well, obviously, like, sure, we're not going to try to get new people in. It's more like harnessing the people that already play the game and are familiar with it that will kind of spend the money on the merchandise and going to see their favorite, team.
But I think that can't be their goal though, because the only way this regional system works is if you can turn like this esport into something that a lot of just normal folks are interested in. If you're gonna try and like do, in-person LANs and stuff like that, I don't think that's proven out as something that works for anything except like the very largest games. I mean, like League of Legends sells out the world's broadcast. But like League of Legends is not selling out an arena every week for their league play.
No.
Like that's what I'm sort of, the disconnect for me is how are you going to keep people interested on a regional basis like for the weeks that don't matter, for like League of Legends, the largest esport, I would say, in terms of like the I don't know, the in-person attendance for a lot of their stuff, right? They don't have like arenas for each week. So I don't know. I think there are so many question marks. I'm not saying it can't work, but it's just really ambitious. And I think it's like a pretty big gamble, because if it doesn't work out, what is the alternative?
Right. I guess the question is, did they have to? I mean, they didn't have to go this kind of deep, right? They could have just said, "Hey, we're gonna have an Overwatch Pro League, right? We're gonna pump a lot of money into it. We're gonna," even if they had said stuff like, "We're gonna make sure that there's salaries." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like they could do that without pushing all the region stuff.
I was talking about this earlier. I think this is just setting up infrastructure for something that is going to be amazing for college play, though. We had saw early this spring that Pac-12 announced that they were going to be doing esports teams for some of these huge universities, and the Pac-12 hasn't came forward to say who they're working with or what kind of games that's going to be. And I think this is exactly, Blizzard has enough games in like every genre, and they've been building like this system. Like they have the TESPA club system already, and now we're seeing this league play, this regional league play. I think this is just creating infrastructure so they can actually take esports and collegiate play seriously. I think because nobody else is doing it to this level. I think I don't know. This is going to be really great for college. I think this is going to be interesting to watch. I'm curious to see what's going to happen. We're supposed to be getting a new announcement from Pac-12 like this winter on like what those games are going to be. And I have a good feeling with the way Blizzard is acting with all this, we're going to be seeing either like Overwatch, Hearthstone, something like that, in this kind of like collegiate league, some kind of tournament or something. I don't know, but we're going to see something just because of what they're doing now.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. I think your college angle is probably right, that's they're going to try and build regional interest at the college level because they have some of that infrastructure already. It's definitely it's a long-term play. So I'm not going to say that it's like it's doomed from the start, because I don't think that's true. But I worry that it could be too ambitious for where we are right now. Like esports are not a staple at college campuses. So like Blizzard, and I think if Blizzard tries to sort of strong arm their way in there, the colleges are going to be like, no, we're not just going to like do Blizzard games, right? We're going to do the other games too, the games that have followings. And I think that's the thing is like I don't know what all their goals are here, but when it comes to viewership, like the viewership is going to be around the high level, like the highest level pro play. That's where the viewership is today. I don't think that Blizzard can expect that there's going to be awesome viewership for, two colleges going at it. Maybe in the future there would be, but right now, like they would have to do an unbelievable job of storytelling and getting normal regular people to care about what are effectively kind of two random teams that happen to be affiliated with a school. I don't know. There's so many questions here. A lot of it has yet to be actually detailed out.
The question is definitely the question is definitely timing, and I think eventually, and also how long is Blizzard if they don't see, right? Because it does seem like a massive amount of money and investment to keep something like this going, just to get it started and then actually fund it. And if they're not seeing the results right away, does Blizzard believe in this enough to just keep it going so that the precedent is set? You know what I mean? And that they can be like, but I don't know, like, because I as much as esports has esports has never been as known as it is now. There's never been these kind of numbers before, whether it's CS:GO or Dota or League or whatever else. So it's definitely, but I definitely am a little bit skeptical with you, Brandon. I want to see how this plays out, and I don't know if Overwatch in particular, despite the player base, is that because right now in chat there's a debate going on. We're talking about, as far as accessibility, and I think Counter-Strike, Bayer brought this up, but Counter-Strike we always talk about that game being immediately understandable for the most part, right, to people that watch it because of the simplicity. And I just, if you have to consider that as part of the factor for something like this, obviously you're going to have people that already know about it and are going to like it inherently. Maybe, though, some people also say that they're not a huge fan of watching competitive Overwatch. I've heard a lot of mixed stuff on that. So you have to figure that they're also thinking about that too. But I guess I'm not mad that they're doing it. I'm glad that they're doing it, and I hope it works out. It's just I think for us to be skeptical is I think pretty fair.
Yeah, and I think that it's the thing for me is like one of the things that they're touting is the stability part. Players being signed to full-time contracts with benefits, and all of that, and it's like that's good. All of those are good in principle, but also like I think inherently I look at an ambitious structure like this as just inherently unstable. Like you don't actually know if this is going to work, and so if it just turns out that you're hemorrhaging money, through this ambitious new system, then it's actually like very unstable. And the fact that it has marketed itself as a more stable thing for the players actually ends up being kind of dangerous, because if you have pro Overwatch players for their region like dropping out of school or dropping out, quitting their job or things like that, and then Blizzard decides that actually this is super expensive and crazy and we're not going to do it anymore, now you've affected a whole bunch of people's lives. And I don't know, that is maybe the darkest timeline, but I don't think that, I'm not sure they've addressed that sort of question, that like, how are you guaranteeing stability? Because one piece of stability is being around for a long time.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, we'll definitely have to keep our eyes on that. So for any of you guys, I know a lot of you guys play Overwatch. Do you guys watch professional level Overwatch when the tournaments are on? Okay.
I've watched some.
Yeah.
I've watched some.
What do you think of it as a spectator experience, I guess is what I'm asking.
I think it needs work.
Yeah.
But the game is still in such early days when it's like the interest is definitely there, the player base is there. But I compare it to Hearthstone. Like Hearthstone, when it came out, the spectator experience for that was terrible, and actually is not great today. Like there's still a lot of production work done to make Hearthstone a really palatable spectator experience. So like I think Overwatch does not even have the level of polish that Hearthstone does yet, and so I think that time will tell. It's definitely not, like you say, Scott, it's not as easy to understand as Counter-Strike. Like they're on different spectrums when it comes to the complexity there. But I think they can get there. It's just that they're going to have to do a good job with like kind of on-screen cues. The commentators are going to have to be on point, and all of that. They can get there. It's just, I don't know, that it just makes it feel that much more ambitious, because you would, if we were talking about Counter-Strike or something that was more immediately understandable by the larger population, or that just already had a huge fan base in terms of the game being played. Counter-Strike and League of Legends and Dota, those games have been around a while. If one of them introduced a structure like this, I would look at it and say, yeah, that's ambitious for sure, but I also understand it, right? Those games, like, it's clear there's long-term interest in those games. I think Overwatch, it's still, the jury's still out about the long-term interest in the game because the game just came out.
Right. Katie, do you watch Have you watched any professional Overwatch? Any league stuff? Good.
He's muted.
Katie, you've been muted this whole time.
All right.
And you're.
I definitely unmuted the Yeti, but I might have forgotten about the Skype mute.
I just love watching Katie like talk and then just nothing. Okay.
I even noticed somebody in chat say Katie's muted, and I'm like, that's not possible. My Blue Yeti.
Katie had some very detailed and cogent points to offer on the Overwatch League.
Yeah,
he never got to inject.
Say them.
No, but I've kind of fallen out of Overwatch. I really I wouldn't say I played it much after the first month or two of release, aside from the new map came out. So competitive doesn't really interest me, and maybe I'm the wrong person to talk to about the potential for this kind of competitive league. Yeah. But if there are enough people that are really dedicated, and I know tons of people that are dedicated to this game, but we'll see.
Okay. Do you see amongst because you're a little younger than us, do you see interest in Overwatch from your in your local friend group, like your real life friends?
I feel like I have a few friends that were into it for a bit, but I feel like they've gotten back into Dota 2. I'll have to ask them and see, and bring this up to them and see how they feel about it. But I don't know. I feel like the popularity and the interest is kind of waning for them as well.
You should show your next Tinder date and then see what she thinks.
Ooh, that's true. That should be the next
that'll be my opener. Hey, do you play Overwatch at all? Are you just interested in competitive video gaming?
I would appreciate a thorough analysis of the Overwatch League and its ambitions from your next Tinder date.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We'll get her on the cast.
All right. So we went really long on Call of Duty, so we'll go somewhat quick to these quick hits. So we still got some juicy new releases and questions to get to. But this was interesting just for the sake of the amount of data that Spotify is writing to users' hard drives. And I still, from reading this article, this is an Ars Technica article, but this is a bug that's been going on, or I don't even know if it's a bug. I'm assuming it is, but for 5 months or longer, the Spotify music streaming app has been assaulting users' storage devices with enough data to potentially take years off the expected lifespans of their drives. Reports of tens or in some cases hundreds of gigs of data being written in an hour aren't uncommon, and occasionally the recorded amounts are measured in terabytes. The overload happens even when Spotify is idle and isn't storing any songs locally. So I
gotta check my fucking hard drive. I got Spotify open right now.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
So
they even did testing, and they said the app wrote 5 to 10 gigabytes of data less than an hour on their machines, even when the app was idle. Leaving Spotify running for periods longer than a day resulted in amounts high as 700 gigs. And if you're an SSD owner, you don't want.
Oh my god! Good luck. Yeah.
That's actually why I thought this story was interesting because a lot of people, if you just choose I have a storage drive, but when I'm installing programs, I'll just mostly install all of it to my C drive. So a lot of people will just install Spotify to their SSD, and this kind of would it could definitely take some life off your SSD, no question about it.
Yeah. Wow. So definitely an issue. Apparently, a Spotify spokesperson actually reached out to Ars Technica and said that we've seen some questions in our community around the amount of written data using the Spotify client on desktop. These have been reviewed, and any potential concerns have now been addressed in a new version that we're rolling out to all users. So, I don't know. That's
so crazy, though.
That's
the
crazy.
App was just writing gigs of data. It clearly wasn't downloading that much. Songs, songs are let's say maybe 10 megabytes a song on the large side.
Yeah,
that's nuts.
Yeah, good lord. So anyway, just something to keep in mind. Apparently, in the next few days, the update should be out. So you might want to uninstall that if you're until this update hits.
Yeah,
if you care, I guess, about it. So this is kind of, these next two quick hits go hand in hand. But the Sega Genesis, my first console that I ever owned, so definitely some nostalgia there.
You as well.
Nice. Has returned to being produced in Brazil. They are making new Sega Genesis consoles in Brazil, and I was trying to figure out why exactly this is, because you would think that not that there isn't a market for it, but why specifically in Brazil? And from judging from this article, it just sounds like there's a lot of people that really fucking love the Sega Genesis in Brazil. And part of me was maybe wondering too, like depending on different areas of the country, and maybe I don't know, maybe there are a few console generations behind in certain areas, or maybe it's just maybe they love that console. It's kind of hard to imagine exactly why, but Tectoy basically is the company that's doing this, and they've officially licensed the specs and everything, and they're taking orders for the new consoles that bear a striking resemblance to the original, and also feature support for all the original games and that library and controllers. It's going to have an SD card slot, support for AV cables, but no HDMI, which that kind of sucks. It's kind of a deal breaker probably for me if I was going to.
Well, for the Brazilian market though, it might not be.
But exactly, and you have to figure the market that you're talking to, or talking about. So yeah, exactly. So maybe that's so they see potential. Tectoy does. So that's kind of cool. It's kind of like out of left field. So currently, it's about $125 is what they're selling it for, which is 399 Brazilian, with the Brazilian currency. But the pre-orders are extremely strong right now, and people are ordering it like hotcakes, I guess.
That's pretty crazy.
Pretty crazy though.
Yeah, because it takes Genesis games. Like, so you're presumably selling this to someone who already has Genesis games,
right?
Because like
exactly.
I don't think it's not. Are they manufacturing like Genesis cartridges? Like I don't think they manufacture Genesis cartridges in Brazil.
I think so. Yeah.
No, I know. Exactly. It's just funny that like it's not because like the NES Classic is a little bit different.
Yeah.
But this is just like it's just a new console. Like there are a bunch of I wonder just how this even happens. Like how do they see this market? Because think about the amount of work involved in creating a new Genesis in this day and age. Like they saw a big enough market in Brazil to manufacture and sell this in stores. That is crazy to me.
It's nuts. I want to see. I don't think they're. Wait, is this the new one? No. Is this actually the new Sega Genesis? No, I think this is an old one. Okay. Yeah, I think that looks like the original.
They just took an image.
Yeah, they just took a random image. I was going to say, because they're really going all out, but I would love to see a picture of this thing at some point.
Yeah.
Not in the article. But in other, retro or classic consoles, the NES Classic Edition sold out in minutes when available, and may not be available till Black Friday again.
And see, this makes sense to me, right?
This makes a lot of sense.
It has HDMI out. It's just like a set of games on the on the console. So it's not it's
a classic retro package. It looks like
it's like a shell that looks like an NES, but it's actually not. It's like it's basically new guts. It's HDMI out, right? Sure. It's like something that I could see this for sure being interesting to people, because like especially for Christmas time. Like this is such a clear Christmas gift kind of thing.
This is like one of the clearest, like kind of like when whoever conceived this or they decide, like this is one of the easiest slam dunks anybody's ever had. Do you know what I mean? Like, let's release it'll look exactly like the original. We'll sell it for $60. It'll have 30 games. You get a control. Like, I mean,
that so behind this there is some guy that like literally probably 10 years ago. Did the math and was like, here's what we need to do, right? Like, I've got this for you guys. Look at the return on this thing I'm suggesting here. And this guy finally is vindicated. He's like, I told you all along.
Right. Exactly. So that's pretty cool. I mean, I would even consider like you said, just as a gift, this is just a great gift idea.
Well, it's $60 too. So it's actually like the Genesis. Back to the Genesis story real quick, like $125 actually feels a little expensive for what that is, because the NES Classic thing is right in that Christmas gift range, that $60 range. Like for friends or whatever, $60 is about what you might spend on them for Christmas. So
Yep.
Also, there was I just saw this sort of small, conspiracy theory that like I wonder how much Nintendo is actually just holding back what they could produce of these. Because
sure.
Looking at this thing, it's not like we have some crazy components here that can't be mass produced pretty quickly. Like, I wonder if this is them choosing not to sell more of them, because I feel like Nintendo sort of go that way sometimes.
I think Nintendo knows by now how to scale, right?
No, exactly. That's what I mean.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
if it
So,
sold
like,
out in
there's
minutes,
no
that
way.
means that they're not selling very many of them, right?
Yes, sure, absolutely.
I feel like
you say working in a video game store, like ever since it has released, I've received countless calls of people asking for them.
Really?
Like, the interest is definitely there.
Wow.
Like, these are selling out because people really, really want these. Like, people aren't sleeping on these.
Okay,
it's
that's pretty strong evidence then.
Yep, exactly. There you go. And always on the cutting edge of.
And Nintendo's done this shit before. Like when the Amiibos came out, they really underestimated, and they continue to not produce enough. That's why some are so rare. They just don't make enough of those. Like those sell out really fast. I mean, they've definitely learned from that, but like this isn't the first time that Nintendo has not produced enough. Like there have been like special editions for games that sell out immediately, like special edition like DSs that there's a clear interest for, and they could sell a bunch more. But this is definitely not the first time Nintendo has just made jack shit amount of a product that sells very easily.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, there you go. There's our news. Katie Zen, take us away.
Here we go.
Through the new releases.
My pride and joy.
Yes.
So, new releases this week. Nothing. Let's go ahead and cover last week. There's really only one notable game aside from Senran Kagura Bon Appetit Dessert Delight on Steam, which all of you should definitely check out and spend money on. Dishonored 2 came out on the 11th to pretty good reviews, except for the PC port reportedly being pretty bad, which is pretty shocking when you consider the quality of the first game's port, which I thought had a really good version on PC. But it's pretty. Yeah, so Dishonored 2 I've heard pretty good things about, but really not really that much marketing for. Well, no, I shouldn't say that because I see that live action commercial like a good amount of times, but not a lot of people are really talking about this, so I'm not sure what's up. But yeah, looks like a more of Dishonored 1, which is always a good thing. That game is awesome. But check that one out if you're interested. But for this week's releases, we're going to talk about Watch Dogs 2 first, which is going to come out on console for November 15th, but according to Wikipedia and Steam and other places says November 28th for a PC release. Now, this might be very confusing when you consider that Ubisoft's website states it's also coming out on PC on the 15th.
That's what I was going to say. So their official website says the 15th, so raise your pitchforks.
Yep.
There we go. Send them an email. But no. If you're a console player, then Watch Dogs 2 is there and available if you want to play that. I mean, I can't really say I'm interested. But anyways, next up.
Speaking of pitchforks,
just
go to the Steam reviews already on this bad boy.
Holy shit! I did not even see.
This is the early access reviews.
Hold on, how did this get? Early access. Yeah. So, a Roller Coaster Tycoon World has been in early access since March 30th, but it will be officially releasing on the 16th of November, and has already received some mostly negative reviews here. Let me skim through some of these. Game crashes, bugs everywhere, frequent crashes, if I can say that word. Bad lag on a 980 Ti. That is a damn shame for a $50 Roller Coaster Tycoon game.
Yeah, some of these people, I feel like these are not like protest reviews. These are just
legitimate.
Yeah, these are just scathing.
Mad. Yeah. I mean, if you have, there's 2009 negative and under 1,000 positive. So I mean, at some point, you have to go like, sure, there's some opinion and maybe, but these are like just about how the game runs for most of these.
And some of these, I mean, some of these
constantly.
first not recommended ones I'm seeing are like 27 hours on record, 8 hours on record, 16 hours on record. Like these are people that have played the game. So
sure,
I would say buyer beware on this one.
Careful.
Yeah, and this one here, with 27 hours, like you said, awful is the only word I can use. The game in a whole is terrible. I struggle to find one thing which might give it some shimmer of hope. Sadly, I cannot find anything. Damn. So yeah, might want to steer clear of Roller Coaster Tycoon World, but it's still good to. This is a piece of gaming history that we need to remember. Okay.
That's true, and they're also the acronym for their game is RCTW, which is alarmingly close to RTCW, and that's actually why I do not want them to refer to it by the acronym, because I don't want to risk sullying the good name of Return to Castle Wolfenstein.
Ooh,
in case you're dyslexic or reading quickly.
That is a very real problem that might affect a couple people.
It might. It's important.
All right, that's true. But yeah, on November 17th, a couple games come out. We've got Planet Coaster, which a lot of people actually in the reviews of Roller Coaster Tycoon World are calling out saying, just get Planet Coaster instead.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, just looking at the trailer, this looks sick as hell.
I watched Simcopter 1 play this the other night.
Yeah,
and it's actually like it looks incredibly detailed.
Okay.
I was pretty impressed. I can't speak for the quality of the actual game. I haven't played it, but just watching it, like the amount of customization and stuff was pretty nuts. Like I was pretty shocked at seeing a game that isn't Roller Coaster Tycoon. Like it's not a name I know of.
Right.
Have the kind of depth. I feel like this, at least on the surface level, to me, looked like the city skyline to SimCity, where Planet Coaster feels like the city skylines to Roller Coaster Tycoon's SimCity.
This gives me hope because I got my I was like, man, it would be so fun to play a Roller Coaster Tycoon game again. But then I saw the reviews on that last one, and now this one, this looks
so we've got shit. That's pretty cool. Yeah, the little story in our reviews. We start with something bad, but end with pretty hopeful Tycoon theme park game. So
I wonder if Planet Coaster comes out. Do you think it's a coincidence that Planet Coaster is releasing right as Roller Coaster Tycoon releases?
I don't know.
Mention that. Yeah.
That's some
can't be right.
Aggressive.
It can't be coincidence.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, November 17th, one day after Roller Coaster Tycoon World. If you pre-order it, you can save 10%. If not, you'll be spending $44.99. So look out for that one. And then lastly, we have Icarus 1.1 coming out on the 17th, which is it's an indie game from their Electrolyte. They've made one other game before, it came out a couple of years ago, Reprisal Universe. I haven't played it, but it had a very positive review on Steam. But this one, it's a typical going into, and I hate to say this is typical because this seems like an idea that surprisingly used quite frequently. You're going through an abandoned space station, Icarus, with a missing crew. It's not really marketed as a horror game or any kind of horror aspect to it, but it looks like the sound design looks really well done, visual style as well from a small indie studio. This looks pretty impressive work they've done. So hopefully a good story there, some nice ambience. But,
weird. They have a demo out from April, I guess you can play, which is cool.
Oh,
so
okay, cool. I didn't see that. And also, it won Edge Magazine's Get Into Games contest in 2015 with some pretty good things to say about it in the reviews and the description. So hopefully that turns out pretty well. It comes out on November 17th. No word on a price yet, though. Next up, Killing Floor 2 is officially releasing after a pretty lengthy stay in the early access hotel of Steam. But I feel like you would know this, Brandon. What's some of the things that are coming out with the full release?
I have not actually paid attention to what they're currently adding, but I see the tactical response update is sort of what they're marketing right now, and I guess that's their final push into leaving early access.
I see.
But I have not done my research on this one.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they're adding, but I just know from playing this game a bunch, and the early access and whatever, it's fucking phenomenal. I mean, like if you're going to do a game in early access, this is basically kind of the model you want to follow. And the game's fun as fuck, so I'm sure that the final this is not a game that it's $30. You can get the digital deluxe edition for $40.
It's such a good game for what
it's just such
costs.
A good game that it's just
it really is,
and you will get so many hours of enjoyment out of it that. Like, this is almost like, I hate to put the KBMOD seal of approval on anything because we've been wrong in the past, but I can tell you from experience that, this game is fantastic.
It's one of those games that I feel like, sort of like we alluded to earlier, where it's a game that, like, the original Killing Floor came out so long ago, and you look at their track record of adding in a bunch of free, content over time, doing cool seasonal stuff like, Halloween skins and Christmas skins and other things. That Killing Floor, like, they're going to support the game. Like, that $30, you're going to get a lot of enjoyment out of that $30 for probably like the next 4 to 5 years. And that's why I recommend it wholeheartedly, because that it's not like they're already working on Killing Floor 3. Like, they're working on making Killing Floor 2 that much more awesome. And it looks like the tactical response update, they released a new perk, the swap perk. They released a new map. Actually, I have not played Killing Floor recently. Like, all this stuff looks awesome. They tweaked some resistances and perks and stuff. So they're like, it's clear of any game out there, this is a game where, like, they're just constantly iterating and adding stuff to it. So I actually want to jump back into it now that I imagine the player base will probably jump.
Like, this is a game that I won't play for a couple months and then I'll come back to and stuff. And then every time I'm just like, God, this game's so good. So yeah, definitely with the full release, I want to see what they're going to offer.
Yeah, for sure. I'd be down for a community night coming up here, KBMOD.
Yeah.
But that comes out on the 18th, but you can get your hands on it right now if you want to buy early access. Why would you not?
I mean, if you want to buy it, it's available now. The 18th is just probably when they'll do, like, marketing around it.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, definitely can pick that up. But lastly here is we don't have a release date for this game, but usually with some of these games from indie developers, they put, like, the release date for the month, and it really just comes out as soon as it's done, but around that time frame. And I wanted to go ahead and talk about this now. It looks pretty interesting before, if just in case I miss it or something. It's called In Extremis, or In Extremis. It's a shoot 'em up, kind of arcade Galaga-esque game, but judging by the trailer and some of the screenshots, and by the description too, it's got some pretty trippy artwork. And some of the later levels, it says it's a challenging and provocative shoot 'em up about finding yourself in the chaos of the universe. It's a shoot 'em up game that aims to bring an engaging and fun experience to the player while also experimenting with the nature of the language of video games. So it looks like some pretty neat ideas here too, going by the trailer and some of the artwork they put into it. But that comes out we just know it's coming out November 2016. But I think this is a game to look out for. It definitely looks very interesting. So, In Extremis is what that's called. But yeah, it's gonna wrap it up for our new releases this week. Thank you.
All right.
As always.
Well done. Well done.
Thank you. Round of applause.
I feel like you ended that as if you're gonna cut that little segment, and put that as a standalone.
Yeah. I mean, we have a surprisingly large amount of viewers that come just for the new release section.
Yeah,
I noticed a huge spike in viewership.
Usually 20 to 30K, and then they all leave, which is crazy.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Do you remember that Reddit spike we had?
It's pretty wild.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump into viewer questions. And our first question is from Noah Stern on Twitter, and he asks us: should personal stats, KDR, assist points, be shown to the lobby, or is it better to keep them personal, like in Overwatch? It's a good question.
Well, I think the one thing I like about being able to see other stats is like you can kind of keep up with like how your squad or teammates are doing. Because I don't know, like that's the one thing that kind of sucks about Overwatch is like you don't know where's the weak link here.
I think it. Yeah, I think it depends on the game. I'm always like I'm not of the. I don't know. The stats don't always tell the true story
Right.
as far as, but I do think we kind of live in this. We kind of live in this world now, like where if people see somebody maybe not at the top of the scoreboard, sure, like that can, that's always the way it's been, right? Maybe you'll get flamed or whatever else. So I guess kind of I understand where they're going with that, and I don't know. I always thought this was kind of not necessarily PC or whatever. It's just like, well, let's make it a little bit more. Everyone play, together a little bit better if you can't see other people's stats, and I think that's kind of bullshit. I personally, I like all the information that I can get when I'm playing a competitive shooter, or if I'm playing a shooter, I'm trying to make it competitive. That's probably the better way. So like, I want to see how everybody's doing. So I'm not a huge fan of that personally, Brad. I agree. I don't know. What do you think, Katie? But I guess it could depend on the game too. Like,
yeah, it depends on the game. It's like, whereas like Battlefield 1, where you're like, the purpose is to keep track of like tickets.
Right.
It makes sense to have a scoreboard because you're like,
sure.
Like change your class or what are you doing in your squad or something, like something's not working for you.
Yep.
How can I help you? But
and it shows your total points as well too, right? Not just your kills. So kills won't tell the whole story, but you can have somebody at the top of the scoreboard with 3 kills and 22 deaths, but they could be the top of the scoreboard, whether if they're playing medic or support, you know what I mean, or doing whatever else,
right,
helping the team out. So I guess I like stuff like, and when it comes to games like Counter-Strike, obviously you have to like, I guess you could not have a scoreboard, but it would be ludicrous not to, because you can tell it's 5 versus 5 if it's competitive or whatever else. Or if even if you're just going to play in a pub, but I guess what do you think, like, Katie or Brandon, like, what are your thoughts on it, and what do you think that like Overwatch is trying to do by not showing it? Do you think it's trying to foster a less toxic community? Is that their goal, maybe? Because I don't know. I don't really know their thought process behind it.
I mean, it seems to me, I have to guess it's an intentional decision in a game like Overwatch, because they're. I think they are trying to put all of the focus on team play, but from my personal perspective, like the stats are something I'm interested in, and so it just frustrates me when I'm not sure what's going on. Like when you're playing with someone, you can have this sense that they're not doing well, maybe, or maybe that they're doing super well, right? Like if you have if there's like some sniper on the other team where you feel like you're constantly getting sniped, but then you look at their stats and they're like actually just the middle of the team, but they're just like the ones annoying you at that time with their play. I feel like it can just be frustrating to not actually know objectively sort of how they're contributing to the team, and whether or not they might have just gotten lucky and killed you a few times, or maybe your teammate, like your teammate does something dumb, but then you look at the stats and you're like, oh, actually they're topping the kills. I feel like you're going to get that information when and I agree with you, like it shouldn't just be kills and deaths. It should be like the things that are relatable to what they're doing. So like in Battlefield, for instance, the medic, like you want to show, maybe healing done or something like that, to try and give a more objective picture. But I feel like Overwatch,
which they do, by the way, they break it down on the last screen with all that stuff.
And I like that. I mean, I like I like sort of how Rocket League does it. Rocket League is not a super complex game, but it shows you the saves, the attempts, and so you can look at your team and get a good sense of who contributed in what ways, and so I think obscuring the information doesn't really do anyone any good. And especially, I mean, we were talking about the spectator experience. Like, I think the spectator experience suffers by not having that information, because that's the information that people are interested in.
Well, I think the fact that we're basing Overwatch is so different from the rest anyways, like it's hard to compare or like relate to it when your quote unquote eliminations aren't actually eliminations. Like eliminations in Overwatch are actually like you just pinging someone and somebody getting the final blow. That's It's not an actual kill like in other games. That's just damage done to a character, and it's counting it as a quote unquote elimination. So Overwatch is just an oddball out there to begin with.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, sort of, but I think there are other games that sort of obscure the fine-grained stats in favor of more simplicity. But I think that especially in a game like Overwatch, like the game itself is not simplistic, and I think would actually benefit from having some of that nuance described on a stats screen. Because like you said, it's not just as simple as kills and deaths in Overwatch, but that just means I think the onus is on the developers to create a status screen that does accurately represent people's contributions to the game. And not just at the very end either. Like during the game, I'm unique in that I like checking up on the status of what the game is, and I'm someone who I'm hitting tab a whole lot to see what's going on, and not being able to do that in Overwatch can be a little bit frustrating. But it's clear that they've made that choice intentionally with Overwatch. I'm just not sure. I'm not sure that I agree with it personally. Some of it probably comes from console side too, that. Like on the consoles, I don't know. Maybe you want to promote team play, and I don't know. Maybe they've done the research, but I personally like being able to see the stats at whatever level they're provided. More is better.
Yep. Okay. Cool. All right. Let's go to this question from Crazed 547, and Tom asks, since we just had some earthquakes around New Zealand, and yes, my friend, be safe. I heard about those. Have you ever experienced a natural disaster? I have not. Are we talking other than this election cycle?
Ooh.
Okay.
Got one in there. Zing.
Got one in. No. I personally have not. I've been lucky to never have experienced a natural disaster. Any of you guys?
No. I'm lucky living in a place where
the
occasional tornado.
Sure.
Yeah, Indiana doesn't really see a lot of natural disasters. Like we had a recent tornado come through that was pretty scary, but it seemed to go right around us. But yeah, I can't say I've been affected, but natural disasters really suck dick. To be frank.
True. I think that's I think so much safer than your tweet about Ben Carson earlier that the podcast people didn't
Let's
hear
just erase that from
delete.
history.
That is a safe the saying natural disasters suck dick on your Twitter. I would approve that, and you could send that because I don't think anybody's going to disagree with you.
That would go viral. Guaranteed.
That would go viral. Yes.
Who's going to disagree with that?
I haven't been in. I wouldn't describe any of these as a natural disaster. But living in Texas, I think one time we had lightning strike our house, and so that was. I'm trying to remember. This was when I was pretty young, but Texas gets a ton of thunderstorms, and so like the areas I've seen floods. Like I've seen a lot of flooding, but I've just never been affected by it.
Yeah, that's what I was about to go off of. I was like, when I was a kid, we moved to Arizona, and while we were moving to Arizona, we had to drive through monsoons, like just flash floods. And then like forest fires were really close to our town, where we had to like people were gonna have to evacuate, like that kind of shit. But I haven't actually like personally been affected more than that in a natural disaster. No.
Yeah, luckily, like our house was not in a low-lying area, so it wasn't like we were in any danger. But roads would get closed and stuff. It was a minor inconvenience. So I wouldn't call it a natural disaster from my perspective, but for some people near us, it was definitely houses got flooded and stuff. And also, again, not a natural disaster, but we've had a couple of earthquakes here since I've lived in the Bay Area. And most of them are just have been nothing. But one of them was like actually a legit earthquake. And while it did not knock anything off the shelves, it was like a little harrowing.
Yes.
But again, not a natural disaster. But
I've had one living in LA. I had one earthquake that was so strong that it woke my building was swaying. I woke up, everything was moving, and I had the same thing where not a natural disaster, but the big one is coming for you people in California. God bless.
It wasn't a disaster, but it is something I will remember.
It scares you. Yeah, same. I had one of those, and yeah, it's terrifying. So, oof. Yeah.
But yeah, stay safe in New Zealand. That's pretty serious stuff.
Yep. So, all right, and we've got one email question from Brian who asks us this interesting question. If in exactly 1 minute from now, all of humanity was to get shrunk down to 1% of our normal height, and you were the only one to know about it, how would you prepare and deal with your new reality? Wow.
I would run straight to the kitchen.
Okay.
You'd have to get all that food out of there.
So you would. So I see what you're saying because of how the distance to travel, right? So you want to be where there's food.
Yeah, because if I'm down to one inch, it's going to take me a week to get to my kitchen.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
If I don't fight like an ant or something on the way.
Yeah, if you don't run across a predator. Huh.
If we're being shrunk down to, God, in a minute, that is not a lot of time to prepare. The ideal situation is to get yourself into a place where you're standing right next to a beautiful woman and you're right next to some unperishable open food that you can access from the ground.
No, but
ideally you'd want to find some weapons also, like maybe some paper clips.
But no, but you are shrinking.
Here's the thing.
No, I'm the only one who knows about it. Everybody is shrinking.
All of humanity.
Oh, you did say all of humanity. Yeah. Right, that's right. But I'm saying weapons. I don't think the weapon... If you're holding a weapon and you shrink, you're dead because you will get crushed instantly. Like if
listen, if I have like a thumbtack or something, I can put that right next to me. So I have like a spear when I'm down there. Because flies or roaches or rats, God, if you run into a rat when you're an inch tall, you're fucked. Guaranteed. Okay. So I'd arm myself with those.
Or my dog.
Weather. Oh my God, I'd have to kill my dog in a minute, or at least lock her in my room.
I think if you were 1 inch in size, you could kill your dog. I think your dog would wreck you.
I'd probably just let my dog outside, like let her free, because who's gonna take care of her now? It's her world.
I find it interesting that you went straight to God. I'm gonna have to kill my dog.
Yeah, well,
actually, that's kind of true though. Like you just want to let your pets out the front door, so that they could live without you. Because if he says just humanity, we assume that animals would still be their normal size. I think basically we would all be we would all die because we don't have any in 1 minute. Maybe you could crush up some food because I'm about 6 foot.
Yeah.
And so that means that I would end up changing to 7/10 of an inch, around 7/10 of an inch. So in 1 minute, all I can think of is I need to be downstairs because if I'm upstairs, I can't go downstairs anymore. I would die. It would be like jumping off a cliff every time I try to go down the stairs. So I'd try to get downstairs and I guess grind up some food so that I could eat the dust because I wouldn't be able to open a granola bar or anything because I'm going to be tiny. That's going to be massive. Like a paperclip, you were saying. A paperclip is going to be huge.
Yeah. I would get a shitload of water bottles, take all the caps off and put them all sideways, or I'd probably be able to knock them over. I'm thinking about water and some cereal. I'd probably make some Hot Pockets. And then
Hot Pockets take longer than a minute.
Yeah. Oh shit.
Yeah, you would need more time.
Man.
God. I'm thinking about somebody waiting inside of a disgusting half-cooked Hot Pocket in this new reality, with their shirt tied around their head with a paper clip.
Maybe you could do that if you started cooking a Hot Pocket, and so it was half cooked, right? And you pulled it open. Right, you would maybe be able to live on that, the pieces of Hot Pocket, maybe for weeks.
Yeah.
If you get one of those giant bags of cereal, or a lot of those, I think I have one of those now. I could grab that, throw it on the ground, get it in a position to where I'm gonna shrink here. So I have easy access to the part where those you just have to pull it open. You don't have to handle a zipper. A zipper, on one of those, if you're an inch tall, you need a team of people to open that.
Yeah.
Okay. So you take all the cereal in your house, you rip open the bag, and you put it on its side.
Yes. Yes. And then water as well. God, this is a really shitty situation. because that's certain death for a lot of people.
You know, I was just thinking. I was thinking,
go for it.
No, I was just thinking that if you had the situation, all of humanity got shrunk down. Do you think, despite our size, we would still there'd still be brilliant people and people that could invent things? Do you think everything in our current tech would just be ported? It would take a long time, right? Because we would have to build new machines and all this stuff. But do you think we could get everything that we have currently down as small to be, so if somebody's an inch or less, that's mind fucking me. I think it would happen. But it's crazy to think about. Think about that.
That's crazy, dude.
We would be returning to the Stone Age, because we wouldn't be large enough to actually operate any of the things we had built.
Exactly. Totally.
I would want to surround myself with people too. Like in addition to that, like
there needs to be a movie. They need to update fucking Honey I Shrunk. Really though, because
Honey I Shrunk the Planet.
Honey I Shrunk the Planet, and then it's like all the engineers and stuff. It's like, no, we could though, because even in an inch, you could still somehow, it would be like, you'd have a scene where it's like, dude, the operators of like a fucking nuclear power plant, right? And it's like, well, fuck, we have to do something. No. So it's like a whole team of like scientists and stuff are like climbing the desk of a nuclear power plant to type in on the keyboard, and it takes like 4 people to jump on the keys to type in a command to like shut it down. I don't know. I'm just thinking. Now my mind's running. I'm like, that would be hilarious.
This would be
this is a nice premise. I like this premise.
Yeah.
And would all the tech eventually catch up?
People are driving, and then all of a sudden they just become an inch tall.
An inch tall
everywhere. Exactly. Oh my god. But they'd still be alive though. That's just crazy to me that everybody's going to be alive. But could you imagine like walking down the street? That'd probably be the ideal place to be. Would be downtown in like a really crowded area. Like being there with all those people. I would want to be just surrounded by people, basically.
Yeah, that's true, right? Yeah, if you're really out of luck, if you live by yourself, like in the country, and nobody's home, and everybody gets shrunk, it's like, well,
you're fucked.
It's gonna be a long time before you see another human.
You would see humanity truly try and come together, because like we wouldn't have any weapons or anything. Like nothing, none of the things that we have now to defend ourselves would be feasible at being 1% of our size. So like we would have to band together to try not to get like eaten by birds and stuff.
Right. That's true. Exactly. No, exactly.
Oh my god.
Dude, how have they not updated Honey I Shrunk? Like, how has there not been a triple, like, even if it's just a comedy, dude, they need to update the Honey I Shrunk the Kids franchise. Honey I Shrunk the world or the universe. That would be so sick. Fuck. This is a great question. This is one of my favorite questions I've ever gotten. I have to commend you, Brian.
Round of applause.
Well done. Well done, Brian. I feel like we could unpack this for another couple hours, because there's just so many possibilities.
Oh yeah, like on planes.
That makes me actually want to go back and watch all of the Honey I Shrunk the Kids movies, because I love those growing up. Those were so cool.
They were great.
God, could you imagine like being swimming in that event, and then you're just in this giant ocean? That'd be
dude, even if you're swimming in a lake, at that point, size-wise, it's like, you might as well be in an ocean, because.
Dude, if I shrink right now, I'm sitting on my computer chair. There's no way I can live from a fall to my seat down to my floor.
No, that's true. You would just,
God. And this is a pretty damn uncomfortable chair. Just to throw that on top of there. So.
You would have to sort of climb around the side, like the side of the arms, and see if you could shimmy down the center of it.
Being that small, maybe I could unravel this fabric and fasten a rope. Maybe. I don't know.
God,
it's a great question, Brian.
That is a great question.
All right, so we do have. This is the part where we look and read, if they are of mention, the iTunes podcast reviews of the week. And the way that you can do that is very simple. You go online. If you don't have an iTunes account, you make one. You rate the podcast 5 stars, which is what this podcast deserves. Even if you don't believe that, just trust me. It actually won't let you leave a review if you don't click the 5 stars. So just don't even try.
Yeah, there's actually a bug report out to Apple to fix that.
And then you can leave your thoughts on the podcast, or maybe you just have a meme, or you have something that you want to get off your chest. I mean, we've had all different kinds of reviews, but the main thing is
memes are highly encouraged.
Memes are very highly encouraged. So we do have 2 reviews this week, and the first one is by Raikai Wolf, I would say. This is how I would say that, I think. Raikai Wolf. And the title, the subject is Alex in Our Hearts, which is, I already like where he's going with this. And he says, this podcast has been one of the best things I can listen to every week since the first podcast. The one thing that would make it even better, though, is hearing Alex's voice at least one more time. Alex, movie voice, in this world, I will return to satisfy everyone with my Canadian love.
That's not a very good Alex movie voice.
I'm sorry, that's not a good Alex, but I can't do it like Alex can. But you know what? That's a great
in this world.
There you go.
Nah, I can. Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, you were there. You were there.
That was good. You were there. Do it.
In this world, I will return to satisfy everyone with my Canadian love.
All right, started good.
That's pretty good. Pretty good. That's, you know what? On the spot. That's all right. On the spot, we'll take it.
We'll take it.
I think.
But I miss Alex too, man. He's doing good. Honestly, people always ask, but Alex is, as far as I understand, he's still on the show Letterkenny, which, if you haven't seen it, it's a show it's a Canadian show that's on, I think the Canadian version of Netflix. I don't think it's on the US Netflix, but it's fucking incredible. Letterkenny, I think. Letterkenny, and he's on that show. He's working. He's a working actor, man, and he's doing good. So I would love to get him back on the cast at some point. I'm not going to say it's never going to happen. I think the last time I talked to Alex was probably a year and a half ago, 2 years. Yeah, it might be on Hulu.
He checks in every now and then, but he's doing really good. You know, real life stuff going on. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So he's living it. Yeah, Letterkenny. That's the name of it. So if you want more Alex, you can get him there as a recurring character on that show. All right, but thank you for the review. Appreciate it. Glad you liked the cast from the very first episode. That makes us feel good.
It's nice to have a good, sincere, legit review.
It's bizarre to get sincere, legit reviews. We don't. Yeah. This is so. Thank you very much, Mr. Wolf.
It's awesome that you've been listening every week since the first podcast. That's really awesome.
Dedication.
Thanks for sticking around.
Okay, and also I'm getting word it's on Crave TV is the channel that it's on. So. Thank you. Awesome. As a Canadian in the chat, he's helping fill me in. I only have watched it because another KBMOD or Hex actually had the episodes on his hard drive, and it's just, anyway, the show's incredible. It's hilarious. Check it out. All right. So this next review is by Purple Wampus, and it's a 5-star, of course, as it should be, and the subject is 9 out of 9. So that's pretty high praise, I think, if he's talking about rating this. And he says, best place to hear Brad get triggered and catch up on all of the Hello Games news. Short and sweet to the point, and I think the things that he loves most about the podcast. So a great review.
It's not very often I get triggered, but somehow I get on this cast and it happens.
It just happens, exactly. And I have to say, you know what? I'm a little disappointed we didn't have any Hello Games news this week. But you know what? There's always next week, because you know that there will be Hello Games will do something. They will do something, and they will
every week we don't have Hello Games news means that the week that we finally do have Hello Games news, it'll be that much better.
I read something today, getting news. I almost put it in the cast. An analyst predicted that Hello Games is already dead.
Oh, really? They're saying that like the studio's defunct, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. So, sorry, I didn't include that, but now you know.
Oh, man. Well, I'm glad that we caught that little bit here on the end. He says he comes here to catch up on all the Hello Games news. Look, you just got your little nugget. We didn't even have any this week, but we found a way.
There it is, dude. Hello Games and their fuck ups always find a way. You know what? That's how it works. So, yeah.
Just linked Vimeo in the chat of a demo reel of Alex from a lot of different clips.
Oh yeah,
different shows.
Yeah, no,
that's really cool.
Alex, it's great to say that, you know what, we knew Alex when he was attending school and still not quite totally formed into his acting roles, and he's legit as hell. It's I'm really glad he's doing really well.
I would go as far to say that you guys made him the man he is today.
Well,
you're responsible for
more ways than one.
Would love to take the credit for that, but yes. All right. Well, thank you for listening to that's going to do it for episode 256 of the KBMOD podcast. We will be back next week. Brandon will not be here next week.
I will be gone for 2 weeks.
2 weeks. That's right.
2 weeks. I'm going on kind of a half vacation, and then I'll also be at DreamHack Winter. So any European visitors that or listeners that might be at DreamHack, maybe we'll see each other.
Very interesting to me that Brandon is traveling for 2 weeks away from the country right after these election results, but I don't know. Who knows? Maybe just a coincidence. But
you gotta use your imagination on that one.
Gotta use your imagination. But yeah, we'll be back next week, and then the week after we won't have a cast, but we'll because we're going to be pretty much all of us away for Thanksgiving. So, but we will be back next week. So hopefully you will join us. And again, appreciate the sincere reviews, which we're not used to. I'm still kind of swooning. I don't really know what to do. I'm not used to this. And we will see you guys next week. Thanks for listening.
Well, where can they find
that's right.
information about this podcast, about the guests that were on this podcast? Any
Katie,
details?
I'm gonna let you take this, Katie. I feel like you're ready. I feel like you're ready for the outro.
Okay, yeah, I'll take it away. I'll try. If you want to follow us, you can follow. Really, the only person that matters at KDZen18. Really entertaining, if not unintentionally racist Twitter.
You
can
never
follow
doing
APL.
the outro again.
Yeah, wow. Wow. All right. You know what? You try to give him a task, and all right. Sorry, go ahead. Keep going.
You can follow. You can follow. I made this commitment. No, you can follow APL at APL Fisher. Streams on Twitch. Makes the occasional golf YouTube videos. You can follow Brandon at Volition. That's VLO1TION. He's a Hearthstone streamer, kind of on and off. Still waiting on another birthday stream. That was one of the highlights of your career.
That birthday stream, man.
We'll see. And you can follow Brad at Hutchison on Hutchison15. Excuse me, on Twitter. Also, if I can, and you can follow, of course, KBMOD Gaming at kbmod.com. And at KBMOD Gaming is our official Twitter. Yeah, I almost forgot about that one. That's kind of important.
It's all right. Hey, listen, it needs a little bit of work, but you're getting there. Just my actual notes would be don't mention that don't mention your possibly awkward racist Twitter that you didn't. It was unintentional, but I can see how it could be
completely unrelated to race. People,
I totally agree, and I actually agree with the content of that tweet that you had to delete. Actually, and I don't think it was racist at all. But it is 2016, so people are going to throw shade.
I overlooked the fact that I think you misspelled my Twitter handle when you said it audibly. But
I was going
to let it slide, but the chat is calling out. I think.
Oh, I know that's wrong. I know that.
Did you say ELO1?
I definitely did not say that. I said TION at the end.
Okay.
VOL1 TION.
All right, we'll have to listen to the VOD. I don't know about the first pronunciation.
Let's roll the
there.
tapes.
We'll check the tape.
Let's see. Hey, listen. One more thing, and I'm gonna plug something. Which I'm an upstanding member of society. I would never do this, but this is an exception. This Saturday, the 19th, I'm doing my extra live stream.
Oh yes.
And, yes.
What did you end up deciding that you're going to do for 24 hours?
I'm going to be doing a few different things. I'm going to be starting with a glorious return to Orion Prelude.
Oh, God. Okay.
That'll be the first bit, and then after that we'll be doing, I think we'll be doing some case openings on Rocket League, and then also, as kind of a tradition, I bought some Pokemon cards a couple years ago, because I was like, we're going to open cases you've never seen open before, and so I got some, it should be pretty hype, some Pokemon cards. That's like my guilty pleasure. And then after that, we'll be doing horror games. KD Mom is going to make an appearance to play. We're thinking either, last couple times. She's already played PT, and she played.
She played PT? Is there a video
she did. It's I'll have to dig, but it should be out there.
Man, I want to see that. I never saw that. Yeah,
that's good. Yeah,
I just want to watch 24 hours of your mom telling you how bad you are at Pokemon Go.
Oh my God! Yeah. So we'll have to get her on for an interview.
I want to just watch her mass evolve in front of you and say, "Look, this is how you do it." Okay.
I have to let her know that those new Pokemon are coming out. She'll probably have to get back up there. But we're trying to think now. I'm thinking either she'll play the Resident Evil demo, or I think neither of us have played Layers of Fear, which is apparently pretty terrifying. I think that might actually kill her though. Like
Layers of Fear, if you're not used to kind of those kind of those horror games, I think that would be a good. Yeah, I think that would be a good one.
Okay, we'll go for that. Sure. Yeah, the tension. Yeah, both of us going in blind are probably really good. Yeah. Like when we played PT, it was a struggle to like really. She didn't get too far, but let me think. She did get the door scare where Lisa comes and grabs it and shuts it, and that just that was great. She had a great reaction to that. So, but then after that, we'll be doing. I think I might have time to fill in some Dark Souls 3 PvP somewhere, but then we'll be finishing with Orion, which is the new dinosaur shooter game from them. So basically, just returning to both. Yeah.
Do you have any donation incentives?
I do. Last year, or I keep saying last year, but we skipped a year. A couple of years ago, raised about 1,200 for Ali's Hospital. So awesome. I'm gonna put the donation go at probably 1,000 or 500, but
great.
Somewhere there. We'll see. So yeah, please make it out. Let's raise some money. Cool.
Oh, that's next Saturday, you said.
Yeah, it's the 19th. We're starting at 6 p.m. And ending at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday. So
very cool.
There you go.
All right.
I thought we were doing the outro, and then we got a 4-minute Katie Zen ad at the end. So
I almost forgot to throw that in.
But it's for a good cause. So yeah, definitely check that out.
Yes,
it's awesome.
Definitely.
And that's your Twitch channel. What is your Twitch channel?
Yes.
Twitch.tv/KDZen18.
Okay, excellent. So consistent branding all the way across.
Yeah, definitely. I'm cursed with that 18 though. Like Brandon, I can't listen. You work at Twitch. You are literally the connection I have.
Oh, what you call a curse, some of us call a blessing.
Yes. Please. I even have the other account made of Katie Zen, and it wasn't taken, which really sucks. Is that I made the 18.
Oh, that only makes it that much sweeter.
God, unbelievable.
Is your Twitch just as racist, or?
Got it.
All right, let's.
Okay, sorry.
Let's end this cast.
At KDZen18 for all Ben Carson tweets. All right.
Okay, to be fair, Ben Carson is a fucking idiot. Okay, I don't care. Okay. And race has nothing to do with that.
I know. We're trolling. We're trolling you. He didn't actually say anything intentionally racist. People just took it that way. But we're not talking politics or what we think about Ben Carson. We're going to actually leave. This has been the longest outro ever. If you're still somehow listening to this and haven't turned the steering wheel directly into the guardrail and ended your own life, congrats. See you guys for episode 257 next week. Farewell.
Yatta! Make America great again! Trump! 2016!
No.